Oh my God! Fucking Minions!
Yeah, and
13th all time.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by CinemaSins.
This episode of SinCast is brought to you by NatureBox. Get 3 free snacks with your first order. Just visit naturebox.com/SinCast and use code SINS. All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from CinemaSins, joined as always by the voice of CinemaSins, Jeremy Scott.
Heyo.
And from Music Video Sins, Barrett Scher.
Hello, everyone.
And we have a special guest
Yay!
this week, Kristian Harloff from Schmoes Know, the podcast, the website, the YouTube channel. And he's got you've got something coming up, something big, right?
Yeah, so I'm now the head of development over at Collider Video. Mark and I have been with Collider for the last year and a half, 2 years, and since we were here, what we started over on the Schmoes channel 2 years ago was the Movie Trivia Schmoedown. Yeah, and we turned that into a weekly show, and it's essentially, it's not just a movie trivia show, because I feel like eventually game shows just get repetitive and boring. It's like, so how long can you just do the same game show? So we wanted to make it an actual show. So we combined elements of like the WWE and like ranking styles like the UFC and team matches and things of that nature.
Damn,
and we have like
nice.
Yeah, so and we're doing this we do like these events very similar. I wrote for the WWE a long time ago.
Whoa,
and,
really?
Wow.
Hold on, you have to write for that?
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of people don't realize it, but there's a lot to it. And I think that one of their things that I really dug was their structure on like their pay-per-views, their WrestleManias, their SummerSlams. So I wanted to model that. So as I build the league up, I'm doing this event on July 7th called Collider Collision, and it's 4 big matches. There's 2 title matches. There's a triple threat match between 3 players. There's a team match. There's number 1 contender matches. And there's drama to boot. So it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
That sounds awesome.
So are there some contestants who hate each other on this?
There's a lot of smack talk, and like I said, with the story element, like we have the good guys and the bad guys, and like our main event is a triple threat match between the reigning champion Mark Riley, who would be considered in wrestling terms a babyface, as is from Screen Junkies, Dangerous Dan Murrell, who you guys know.
Yeah.
He was a dominant champion for a long time, and then John Roca, who's like our Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he wears the cowboy hat and he's got the V for Vendetta mask, and he talks smack. He runs the 4 Horsemen. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I'm telling you that we have a guy, William the Beast Bibiani. He comes out in the Hannibal Lecter outfit, and he there's factions, there's behind the scenes stuff, there's vignettes. We had a guy on the phone, like kind of, who's he talking to? It looks like there's going to be some kind of betrayal coming up soon. There's all that stuff.
This sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome. It's all for a movie trivia show. I mean, that's awesome.
Well, that's my point. My point is just to try to, I mean, if you're going to do the same thing as you're just going to have a game show every week, it's just like, people are going to tune out eventually. But if they're invested in characters and they're invested in storylines and stuff too, people say exactly what you just said, Chris. In fact, like, that's just movie trivia. And then they watch it, like, it's a lot more. It's a television show.
I mean, case in point, Barrett and I tried out for that VH1 thing that happened a few years ago. It was a pop culture trivia thing or whatever. Yep. And we got past the first round, but there were all these people who were dressed up like Ghostbusters and like, stuff like that. And
they had a thing.
That was like, they have a sort of an edge in this type of thing to get on the show because they're characters and stuff like that. Right. But yeah, I love that. And so you've got 4 regular matches, or was it 6 regular matches?
Well, so what we do is every week we'll have like normally on Tuesday, the matches are on Tuesday and Friday. So we have team matches on Tuesday, singles are Friday, and we have like if you're a wrestling fan, there's the Intercontinental Championship. I've created the Inner Geekdom, which is just like DC movies, Lord of the Rings, Marvel, Star Trek, Star Wars, and so we have that happens sometimes too. But at the Collision, we're taking like some of the top contenders, like the superstars of the league, if you will, and putting them up on like these big matches. Like I said, there's the triple threat singles match. There's the number 1 contender match, which I'm on with Jeff Snyder. There's the team number one contender match. And then there's the Inner Geekdom Championship with Jeremy Johns, who you guys are familiar with. Jeremy Johns is the number one contender for the belt, and he's going up against Hector Navarro, who's the reigning Inner Geekdom champion.
Wow. Hector Navarro actually sounds like a guy who's into like boxing and wrestling. He actually sounds like somebody you don't want to fuck with.
Navarro versus Harloff.
He's not. He performs like it too, man. He's like a 26-year-old kid, and his knowledge is incredible. He beat Robert Meyer Burnett for the championship back in February, I think. And Robert Meyer Burnett he's like our age and a little older, and he's but he's like he's like producer on Star Trek. I mean, his knowledge is incredible. And Hector, a 26-year-old kid, just showed you just got to know your stuff.
Wow. Well, are we allowed to talk about the other upcoming event? If we're still planning it when we come out there in August?
Of course, yeah, man. Absolutely, I would love to. I mean, having you guys, you guys haven't been on just the Schmoes programming in general since like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And when we started doing this weekly show, not only were the fans like asking, "When CinemaSins coming on? When are they coming on?" I wanted you guys to compete. I think you guys would cause some damage.
Oh man, I think you guys are unprepared for my partner. I'm bringing Rain Man to this thing, and I want you to watch how little I have to do.
He means that in a nice way.
Look at the hype machine going on here, and I'll get on this show and I'll fuck it up.
No, listen, you guys are one of the more highly anticipated teams for sure. I'd love to have you guys on. I got to find you the right competitors too, because last time we all did movie fights. I was the host when you guys competed last time.
I think we remember that.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
I know, I'm sure.
For a time, I blocked it out of my memory, but I've allowed it a place there in my mind.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to lick your wounds, though.
It did happen, and you know what? It's all right. Maybe we can redeem ourselves on this Schmoedown trivia show.
Yeah. You will, because that's the difference, though, too, because it doesn't matter whether there's no judge on this one. It's a matter of you know it or you don't.
Well, and what I like I've been watching some of your trivia shows to prepare, at least to get an idea of how stupid I'm going to look. And what I like is the way you mix up the rounds, and you kind of truly make this a random kind of thing, whether either spinning a wheel or picking a category that you don't know they're going to, like, there's no way for you guys to rig this to make for sure who's going to win. Even though you're kind of WWEing up the storyline, the actual trivia portion is completely fair, and that's what I like about it.
Thank you, and I'm glad. I mean, maybe we should send a memo to the fans about that together.
They're not fans, I guess. They think you're unfair.
No matter what, I mean, what's great about this is that people do get so invested. But if they and I'm not kidding you guys, there's like fantasy leagues for this thing right now.
Oh, geez, that's awesome.
And people they get so invested that if their favorite doesn't win, then automatically it's rigged. And when I compete, and God forbid I win, then I know, then I knew all the answers and all that. But you're absolutely right, because I think that this is why I compared it to the UFC thing, to where, with Dana White, is that I can tell you about the storylines and stuff too, but the trivia itself dictates the storyline. I don't. Like, because I can want, like, if William Bibiani is going up against, Jeff Snyder, I can tell you that I would want, for my selfish purposes, Bibiani to win. But if he doesn't, then I've got to dictate the story in the other way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Well, we're looking forward to it. I think you've got somebody talking to somebody on our end and ironing out all the details. But I wanted to give the fans a sneak preview that we're not just bringing Kristian on to plug this Collision event. We're going on this trivia show, not the Collision event, but we're going on one of these trivia shows very soon. And we also wanted to talk movies with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
And like I said, we would do a lot more of these, but we're not in LA, and it's one of those type of things. I guess you've had that problem before too, though, right? There's a lot of people that you've wanted to have on regularly, but they're not in LA, and so.
Oh yeah, man. Listen, if I like I said, you guys as a team, I know that it's going to be like a special event. We're going to have a lot of fun with it, but I would love to have you guys as part of the league. But I know just location wise, it's hard to do. Chris Stuckman has been on. It's hard. I'd have him as someone all the time. The guys at Double Toasted came in, had a really fun match. Like, we're putting on. I want to get everybody in here that can have, because also you guys got really fun personalities too, and that's what it's about. about. It's about entertainment, and it's about showing your stuff. There's some people that, like Drew McWeeny, who started off on Ain't It Cool News. We call him the Godfather at this point, and he comes into the Godfather theme, and he's not the smack talk guy. He's all business, kind of get in there and do his thing. But there's a lot of different personalities, and yes, you're absolutely right. I'd love to get a bunch of different people in, and when you guys move here, then you'll be the champion.
If Nashville keeps doing what it's doing, I might consider LA a small town to move to.
As soon as we fully turn into Atlanta out here, we'll be looking at other places to live.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, we are going to get right into it. Glad that you could join us for our discussion and everything today. Today we're going to be on our SinCast movie club. We're going to be talking about superhero movies.
Yeah.
You should join our club. You and your friend.
Now, if you're not going to take this seriously, perhaps we should disband the club now.
I love being a part of things.
And generally how we've been doing this, how it sort of worked in, we've worked it in, is we come up with a best, a favorite, an underseen, and an underrated. And the best, I mean, usually sometimes in these categories, I mean, we sort of like have movies that are already going to be
ingrained.
Everybody's best or whatever. I really love it when it gets into the underseen and underrated, though, because that's where we start talking about movies that people didn't give a chance or didn't really get a chance to see. But let's talk about the best ones so far. And Kristian, you want to kick us off with your best superhero movies?
Yeah, I think so let me ask, as far as superhero goes too, because I wanted to are we talking just comic book movies here or just strictly superhero movies?
Interesting that you asked that, because I was thinking the same thing when I was going through all of this, because there are some comic book movies we don't really know are comic book movies, like History of Violence, for instance, is one of them.
That's absolutely right. And I mean, even Kingsman, people don't realize that it was comic book too. So if we're talking overall, if we're talking critically acclaimed type movies, I think that the cliche and easy answer for everybody, and unfortunately got to stick with it, is The Dark Knight.
It's just no argument here.
Yeah, it's just for what they did, what Nolan was able to do with that movie and take it, because we're in a different time right now with comic book movies in general. With you're going to have Tony Stark dealing with aliens, and we're okay with that now. But with Nolan,
Speak for yourself. I am not okay with that.
Yeah,
but with where we are right now, that's kind of in general, whether it's the DC universe or Marvel Cinema, we're all over every realm, and you're going to have Thor coming out, but Nolan was dealing in realism. Nolan was dealing in a place we really hadn't seen comic book movies, and Burton kind of did it in '89. But I think that what he really did here was he combined that opening scene in The Dark Knight. It was straight out of Michael Mann's Heat.
It was.
Yeah. And all that, and then you couple it with the fact that Heath Ledger was not supposed to work. Who? That guy? What? And when he did, it's just now there's no one that can be better than him.
Yeah.
So it's just everything about it, and I did like the balance. I don't agree with people when they just say that it's a Joker movie. I think '89 was more of a Joker movie. I think that it is a good balance because there's a lot going on with Bruce Wayne in that film, but it's just because that performance was so powerful by Heath Ledger that's what you remember, and that's fine. There's so much to it. It was beautiful the way that people take for granted the use of the way it was shot for IMAX.
Yes.
Not the whole thing, like 15-20 minutes of it, but it was so effective, and it's still, and it'll hold up. It'll hold up.
Oh, yeah.
I watched it recently. It's a very, very intellectual, powerful. I think it's one of the, and I know that Batman per se isn't a superhero, but the comic book movies in general, I would say it's one of the best.
Oh man, it's the first superhero movie that felt like a crime thriller that just happened to have a superhero in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it's going to hold up, is that there's all that foundation of story and plot underneath the masks and the capes and the makeup that most superhero films don't have that kind of film structure. They're usually all going for that superhero format, and Nolan decided, I'm going to make Heat with Batman.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen anything like this since either. Mm-mm. And I thought this was going to be a lot more influential when it came out, because this was the movie that I thought, this legitimizes comic book movies in everybody's mind. This is critics, this is people, everybody. So we're going to start seeing more of these. and it's just gotten sillier since
it's not
the
until
Dark Knight.
just recently Matt Reeves came out and said that he wanted to put kind of some Hitchcock into his new Batman thing.
I like that idea.
Right? I mean, I could not be more excited for that, because that's getting back to exactly what you're talking about. Is kind of, and that's the perfect character to do it, because he doesn't have any quote special abilities, so you can actually put him in that universe.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good
Well,
point.
DC's at a unique place right now where they can kind of do that kind of stuff, because Wonder Woman has opened up the possibilities of just flipping the entire DC cinematic universe on its head and going in a different direction that was originally planned. So maybe that's the play. Maybe they start to go into a different direction. It's going to be hard to do from the things that they've already set up, but you don't know exactly where they're going to go. I think that the problem with what Nolan did is that, because, like you said though, Chris, with some people might see it as silly, but there's just the comic book in general. You go back to the history of comic books. There's just so much in there that it does get silly, and it does get to this place of aliens and supernatural stuff, and if you're going to expand it to this vast universe, it's hard to just stick in the reel, I think, for an entire cinematic universe, and I think that's the problem that they were going to run into in the DC.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And it is interesting how Wonder Woman is going to change a lot of these things.
I'm really
DC,
optimistic about it.
You might see a graph of Marvel going down and DC going up.
Well,
with
that's
the way,
inevitable, right?
Yeah.
Like, the pendulum's always going to swing. It's just a matter of when and how long, and then DC will be up for a while like they were before, and then Marvel will reinvent something and come back. And what's fun for me as a kid who grew up on comic books and superheroes is that as much as I hate this, I will argue against what I'm about to say, but it's almost become a permanent genre.
Yeah.
Wherein it used to be a big deal that a new superhero movie was coming out, because there'd be like one a year, if that.
Yeah.
And now we're definitely going to get them consistently for at least 20, 30 years, maybe forever.
Yeah.
As much as they're going to change over time and evolve, I like that, because I think there's so much more territory yet to be discovered, because we've kind of been stuck in a second rut here now with these Marvel movies. I'm a big fan of saying how much they all run together. I can be flipping channels, and I know I'm watching one of these Marvel MCU movies, but from the music, I can't tell which one it is. And from the visuals and the look, they all look the same. So I'm excited to see where we go. And maybe Matt Reeves will take us another step in that direction with what he does with the Batman.
So I was going to say, if I can speak on that, on the genre thing, I agree with you, Jeremy, 100%. And I think that when people, the question I'm sure you guys get all the time, and we get all the time too, is there superhero fatigue? That comes in all the time.
Right.
And I think the fact that it is a genre, and the reason why it is a genre is because I think that Marvel should be credited for this, is what they have done. Even if you think maybe a lot of the movies look the same, I don't think you can deny that what they were going for, say, Ant-Man, is the crime film, the Guardians of the Galaxy with the space opera, the Winter Soldier with kind of the spy thriller, is that they're genres inside a larger genre. And I think that that's why it's able to succeed. And I think that DC is going to start to try to do the same thing. And Star Wars is essentially trying to do the same thing. So that's how you succeed as a genre, and don't get too tired with yourself as an overall, just the superhero movie, the comic book movie. And I think that that's why it's able to work.
Well, okay, because you just mentioned Ant-Man and Star Wars in the same breath. Let's go on a tangent for a second. Ron Howard. Howard.
Man, I know. I am. It's funny because people have been waiting for my thoughts on that too, and I think that they're waiting me to say, "Oh, this is a great idea." I think it's a terrible idea.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's like, I was thinking about doing stand-up comedy wise, like it's like if you compare what Ron Howard is to what he was like an edgy comedian back in the day, and now he just tells dad jokes.
Yeah. Well, what was the last great Ron Howard movie?
Rush, I think.
Rush was good.
I would,
he's always been that all-time middle director, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Like, everything he makes is kind of okay. Yeah. And every once in a while, like in an Apollo 13 or Cinderella Man. Backdraft. It comes out, and it's like, he's got the capability if everything comes together, but...
Well, the real mistake here, obviously, was getting this far before making this decision. They were rumored to have been 3 weeks from being done filming. And they fire Lord and Miller. In case you guys don't know what we're talking about, this is the young Han Solo movie. And just within the last few days before this taping, Lord and Miller I guess it was amicable in the press. They left the project, and now they've replaced him with Ron Howard.
Well, and then Variety came like hours later and said they were fired off the project.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that's not
the fire.
surprising.
Well, the reason what it's funny, you guys. I was just reading about the overall report here, what Entertainment Weekly put out there too, and I'm so torn on this because I see both sides, and the side that I think that it's easy to always blame the studio when you say, well, they didn't let the creators do what they're hired to do, but from what the reports are in this thing was that they hired Lord Miller to give like a comedic spin to Lawrence Kasdan's script. Mm-hmm. Now the reports are that they just completely went away from the script and they started letting the actors kind of improv and they started turning it into a comedy.
But isn't that what they're known for? Aren't
Yeah,
they known
this is
to have an
perfect for-
improvisational style?
Yeah.
Sure, but it's also, I mean, the same could be said. Weren't the Russo brothers known for a lot of that too? But the Russo brothers stuck to, Winter Soldier, and they stuck to Civil War, and they made completely different movies showing that they could do more than just that. Now, comedic, you got to have some comedic stuff with Han Solo. But Kasdan's point was that he's not a comedian. He's not a funny guy. He's just a sarcastic guy. And I think they were clashing on who the character was. Then as far as Ron Howard goes, I think that all it is because there's some rule with DGA that Lawrence Kasdan was supposed to come on and direct, but there's a rule that something from writing on it, he can't do it. There was some kind of DGA thing that wasn't going to allow him to do that. So I think Ron Howard's going to go in there very similar to what Marquand did in Jedi, and probably really, I wouldn't be surprised if secretly, Kasdan is directing this thing.
But how do you, let's say you get the best possible outcome from this point forward. It's still like I'm convinced this film is not going to be good at this point. How do you change gears? Even if you do a bunch of reshoots, this is just because we got this far before we made this decision, we've almost doomed the movie. They can't stop. They put too much money and effort into it. They're right near the end. They have to have a leader. They picked a capable one who's probably going to toe the line. But I do disagree with that Kasdan quote. I don't. Okay. Yes, Han Solo is not a comedian in the sense that he tells setups and jokes, but he is a comedy element for the audience, and always has been.
He wasn't saying that though. He wasn't saying he didn't have comedy elements. He was just saying that he's not a guy that is constantly looking for the joke.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. But I still think the film needs to be more comedy than we're used to with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to me though. I'm in this sort of weird camp that yes, perhaps they hired the wrong people, and they should have known that from the beginning. If they had a vision of the film that they wanted to make, they hired the wrong people, or Lord and Miller both said, "Oh yeah, we can get on board with this," and then went on and shot their own thing.
Right. Now that would be a different story.
There's a lot of things going on there, but I've always felt like just go ahead and let them do that thing, because everybody's going to come see the Han Solo movie no matter what.
You can fix it on the sequel. You're going to make a shit ton of money.
I'm on the other side of it. I think that right now they're only 3 movies into this thing since Disney bought Lucasfilm, and they got to stay consistent in tone, because I think that, I mean, you can obviously have, I agree with Jeremy that it could have comedy elements for sure. And I think that if you get, even looking at The Force Awakens and Rogue One, there's way more of that trying to lighten it up with some comedy than there is in Rogue One. Mm-hmm. But Rogue One, I think they've been through this already. I just think the difference is that Gareth Edwards played ball, as where Lord Miller said, we don't want to play ball, we want to do things our way, and they're leaving because it looks like the same thing is happening. So if you believe the rumors of Rogue One, they reshot like 70% of the movie.
Jeez.
So, they're probably going to do the same thing with Ron Howard and Kasdan. And now the question is whether or not it's going to hit that May date that they're shooting for. I can't imagine it.
Did Rogue One end up being like an A+ all-timer that we're just going to cherish forever, or was it just kind of okay?
Well, we may be in the minority with our takes on it.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'm on the okay train. Okay. I think that I didn't love it as much as my colleagues did. I thought that I thought the last half of the movie was gorgeous. I thought it was really cool to watch. There were some fun space battles. I thought that, and the way that they went ballsy with Vader and everything that they did there, I thought worked very well. I thought there was no character development whatsoever. I think what Star Wars has been doing very well is setting up stuff in the books and the comics and stuff, and the shows. But so far the character development hasn't been there yet. And I think Last Jedi hopefully will change that.
I am actually really optimistic about that.
Yeah.
All right. Should we get back to superheroes?
Going back to the best superhero movies, so here's some others that probably get mentioned in that same breath as Dark Knight a lot of times, even though I think they're still probably a little bit of lower echelon or whatever. Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, in this room, we're not as huge of Captain America Winter Soldier fans.
Wow.
And I don't know why. It's just I tried watching it, and it just wasn't, and it just wasn't my thing. Now, I know that you love it and everything. I
It's
know
my favorite Marvel film. Yeah.
Yeah. So you put that in probably a best category as too, right? What would you say is great about Winter Soldier?
I think going back to repeat what I just said before, as far as I like the way that they switched it up, as what you had to do with the first Captain America, and I think they had to do it, was go into the period piece and make this character that could be seen as silly compared to when it was originally created, and they did it well with putting it back in the war and ending it in modern day. And then how do you follow it up? And I think, but the way that they set it up to where it did feel a little bit of that, where we're just comparing Dark Knight to Heat, I felt a bit of the Bourne franchise in Winter Soldier, and I liked it the way they did that, and I liked the conflict that they initiated with Steve Rogers, and the introduction of Falcon, and I think it gave a little bit more to Scarlett Johansson, and I actually think Robert Redford is one of the few villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that worked.
Yeah.
So I think there's just that's and it's repeat watch for me. I can continue to watch that movie, and I find more value out of it every time. The scene, even though I think they pushed out what happened to with Sam Jackson, the initial scene when you think that he's in peril. It worked. There was a lot. Only the Toby Jones stuff was a little silly, but I think that overall, I really enjoyed the movie, and I just think that they hit a home run with that one.
No, you're in the majority. You don't have to defend yourself.
I do think I took my finger on why I don't like this and many Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a shit about Bucky Barnes. Mm-hmm. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
neither does Ellis. Ellis wants to have him assassinated.
Yeah.
And he's just the central focus of like the last 3 movies, it feels like.
Well, and it drove me crazy that the Toby Jones character decided to go all the way back to the fucking snow to find him after he got thrown off the train and everything. You know what? That one dead guy, we could make him into a super soldier. Yeah. So it was one of those type of things. Yeah, exactly. Another one that doesn't really fit as far as like comic book movies, but it's a superhero movie is Unbreakable.
I was hoping we were going to bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Unbreakable. I don't know if I want to totally give
Spoil
that
it.
away since 2017. We're still in 2017.
But the difference, I think the reason why you probably could if you wanted to is that the way that they're announcing the sequels now, it pretty much gave it away.
That's true.
Yeah, he's tweeting about it like crazy.
I guess Split has a very sort of loose connection to Unbreakable.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're going to connect it really hard in the third one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Unbreakable, man, that movie makes me smile. I can watch that anytime. It's so good.
It is, in my opinion, every bit as much a masterclass as Sixth Sense in terms of color and camera work. And it's really, I don't, as much as M. Night fell off, I never thought the genius inside him left because there's just too much evidence of it. And I just think he got a little caught up in the wrong things along the way. And now I always have a caveat with Unbreakable, and that's that if that ending wasn't the way it was, I would probably scream from the rooftops, this is the best superhero movie ever made. But that ending really, I almost turned the movie off before it gets to that text.
Well, yeah, it ends so abruptly with the text.
Yeah.
Like we're watching
and
Animal
he went
House.
to jail. We ran out of money.
Animal House.
You're right. You're talking. I thought you meant the actual serial killer part, but you're talking. I know exactly. You're right. The end of that movie is abrupt. But it's funny that you guys bring that up because that was going to be my underrated pick. I think that because when you watch Split, now. We picked up on it right away because the Thomas Newton score alone, that score is so good. But when that comes up, I was in. It changed my whole opinion on what the movie was about. But a lot of people inside of that movie didn't know what the hell was going on because a lot of people haven't really seen Unbreakable or care for Unbreakable. And I think it is I agree with you guys. I think it's one of the better and more underrated superhero films that is out there.
I believe it's James Newton Howard, but the composers, they start running together. There's
Thomas
so many.
Newman
There's
and
Thomas
James
Newman, Randy Newman,
Newton.
Yeah. Jerry
Newton boys.
Goldsmith.
The Newton boys. I love bringing up the Newton boys.
But yeah, you're right. I was watching it and I was like, what is this music? Why is he copying straight from Unbreakable? And then okay. That makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I love that. Is there any other bests that I haven't mentioned?
I was just gonna say, I don't know. I could see you guys either completely disagreeing me and booing me off the stage for this one because I know your sass. But I'm gonna say X-Men First Class.
No, I
agree.
love X-Men First Class.
The shit out of that
In fact,
movie.
I have that in my favorites category.
I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite X-Men movies for sure. And I think that because it's the actual prequel to Anakin Skywalker we never got.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's got a great villain, which I didn't expect. And it does what we were talking about earlier, where it kind of gives us a spy genre feel by going back to the 60s and getting that CIA stuff involved. I fucking love that.
I don't know why X-Men is I would think that they're uniquely able to juggle the too many superheroes storylines. For whatever reason, the first X-Men, X2, X-Men First Class, and then to a certain extent Days of Future Past, are able to introduce these characters and give them personality and develop them and to where we actually care about them.
And it's all coming from Fox, who continues to fuck up everything else they do superhero-wise. So I don't know how that happens, but you're right.
You like
Deadpool?
Deadpool?
Good point. What's that?
You know,
like Deadpool?
he mentioned,
Deadpool is obviously an exception to the rule.
I also have in my favorites list. I have that on there, which is it is the two Fox Marvel movies there that I consider in my favorites or whatever. But X-Men First Class was one that I was like having to tell people about. I was like, guys, you gotta come see this. This is way better than you'd ever think, and it's great.
Well, because Brett Ratner almost killed the whole damn thing, and then Wolverine Origins didn't help itself out either. So you had it was no one cared anymore. So I remember, and I think that with Matthew Vaughn is responsible for 3 really good superhero films in Kick-Ass and comic book movies, Watchmen, not Watchmen, Kingsman.
Yeah, Kingsman.
And then X-Men First Class, he rebooted it, and he was supposed to do Days of Future Past. There was a lot of people. He was starting on that, and I think that he just had a really good understanding of what the characters were. He used the score that he used was really good. I think that there's so much to that movie. The only thing that some people have, I think, problems with, which I didn't, was the younger mutants and the way that it was kind of set up in the camp, and I think that was the beginning of it's the only movie I think Jennifer Lawrence wasn't necessarily phoning it in. Days of Future Past she wasn't phoning it in, but I think it was a good introduction to her as Mystique.
Yeah, no, I agree. While we're talking X-Men, I'm not part of this group, but the recency bias thing that we made up and talk about a lot is going to have a lot of people saying Logan to answer for their best super. And I loved Logan.
Yeah.
I take a lot more time before I call a movie that's recent the best or my favorite. I need to watch it several more times, but I've seen that a lot out there. I want to mention The Incredibles.
Yes.
Because I'm going to go finally on record and say that is the best superhero movie ever made.
Yeah.
It's the best Fantastic Four movie ever made.
Yes, it is. I don't want to hear that. I've said it before. It's just got everything. The score is perfect. It's got that moment when the missiles are flying toward the plane is as genuinely tense as any other movie's tense scenes. It's one of the only animated movies that makes you forget you're watching a cartoon because the stakes and the family dynamic, it's really perfect film. And I think it's better than everyone we've mentioned today, and I love them all. So.
Yeah, and I also love, too, that they get these actors who are vaguely familiar to you as far as voices are concerned, and it's you don't sit there and like think about like Matt Damon or somebody like that. Right. He's like in The Incredibles, you got Craig T. Nelson, which is like, I think I know who that is. And then Holly Hunter, who's a legend, but not somebody that you immediately come to mind or whatever as somebody who's going to be in a movie like this. And she's got that great Southern drawl.
Yep.
Well, and even Jason Lee.
He's got a great voice.
Not somebody that you think, he'd be perfect for animation, but he really was. Anyway, I want to make sure I got that out.
Yeah. All right. So we've gone over our best. My favorites have already been mentioned. So you guys go for your favorites.
Do you have any other favorites you want to mention, Kristian?
I mean, I think Kingsman again is up there, and I know that it's recent, but I watched that movie so many different times because I think that for me, if I don't have any expectations from a film and it completely just blows me away from the first time, second time, third time I watch it, I can watch that scene when Colin Firth goes in to try to get Eggsy and recruit him for the first time, and he's talking, and then he just kicks the crap out of everybody inside of that bar. And as I've made clear, I'm a big music guy, and I think that as the score that was happening there, and that clear satire of the spy genre, but mixed with still taking what we're doing seriously, and the brutality in that church scene, but still making me be able to watch it. It was like there was just so much to it that I just thought it's a really special movie. And I think Sofia Boutella was her coming out party, and what she was able to do in that film, and Sam Jackson, who I thought when I saw those trailers was going to be absolutely ridiculous, was one of the best parts of the whole entire film. It's a very underrated comic book movie, and it is one of my favorites.
Well, violence is not for everybody, but I don't understand you if you're not giddily laughing by the end of that church scene, because everything about it is designed to make you laugh. It's supposed to be fun, and boy, it is. It's like a shot of adrenaline.
And I'm always on board too. Sofia Boutella's character is great, and I loved her in Star Trek Beyond and all the stuff that she's coming out. Like, I haven't seen The Mummy. I've heard that's not very good.
She's good in it. She's really, the movie stinks, but she's good in it.
Yeah. But like I'm always on board with these characters who have these weird traits like blades for feet, and stuff like that. There's a sort of a grindhouse characteristic to it as well. It's outrageous spy stuff too, but like, just like Jaws and James Bond or something like that. But I always love that because it's just a completely different thing.
I am forgetting one movie that I can't. My childhood would be mad at me if I didn't bring it up. One of my favorite superhero movies of all time is Superman 2.
Oh yeah,
and I can take the original cut and I can take the Donner's cut. But that was one of the movies as a kid that I just made me a real movie fan. And I still think Christopher Reeve, whether it's Superman, Batman, whoever it might be, he's portrayed the best version of any comic book character to date.
Well, and I'll echo that. I always preferred Superman 2 to the first Superman.
Oh, yeah?
And I think it's just because I experienced them at such a young age. I didn't give a shit about Lois Lane and romance and Can You Read My Mind and all that I gotta save Lois kind of stuff. And the second one just has so much more action. For a little boy who's like 7, like I was always drawn to that one more. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great choice. Anything else in the favorites?
I'll throw out one. Well, Dark Knight and Incredibles are obviously my two favorites. But I want to give a little bit of love to Iron Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I almost put it in underrated because even though it got great reviews and everybody loved it, I feel like everyone has forgotten that movie.
I agree.
Got so much Tony Stark and Iron Man and Avengers stuff and all these other heroes that I think we've kind of started to slowly underrate the original Iron Man, maybe just by forgetting it.
Well, it came out of fucking nowhere.
It did.
I mean, this is Iron Man. Nobody was excited to see Iron Man. Jon Favreau, Robert Downey Jr. is not Robert Downey Jr. the way he is now. Jeff Bridges, of course, turned out to be a great villain.
Yeah.
But the whole story, the whole focus of that, and now he's become the linchpin in the entire franchise in the universe. Well, but it really just came out of nowhere.
Not only that is the fact that people forget that it came out the same year, not too far removed from The Dark Knight. Right. So like nobody, like you just said, nobody was looking forward to that movie the way they were looking forward to The Dark Knight. And comic book fans were expecting it and knew who he was, but other people, it's like, wait a minute, it's kind of Batman. Rich guy designs a suit and fights crime. We got that coming out in a couple of months here. What are we doing? And then you see what they did. The only problem I have with the first Iron Man is the ending. I think that it's like the whole movie, which I loved, was the fact that Tony Stark is going through this trial period of how to make the perfect suit. He can't figure it out. And then, Jeff Bridges just goes, let's put the Iron Giant together and now I'm going to fight.
Yeah. Well, and, that's symptomatic of, I'm definitely fudging a little bit when I make these claims, but that's what all the Marvel movies, it always ends up feeling like an evil version of the hero and a punch battle.
Yep.
At least for a lot of them.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wanted to throw out some love to Iron Man. We can move on to Underseen now.
Okay. Underseen, Kristian, do you have anything that you feel is underseen in this genre?
Well, there were two, and we talked about Unbreakable. I still think that not as many people have seen it, especially a younger generation hasn't seen Unbreakable. Maybe they'll see it more now because of the fact that we just had Split, and now we have Mr. Glass or Glass coming out. I think Super is one that people haven't seen. Rainn Wilson is is something in that movie, man. It's a movie that I think a lot of people haven't checked out, and I would also put the first Kick-Ass in there.
Yeah,
I know that it didn't do very well in the theater. A lot of people don't realize that because it started to catch on with fans, and again, internet has just changed the lifespan of films and franchises in general because it caught on by the same way kind of like Fight Club caught on down the line, because Fight Club also didn't do very well in the box office. But I think that those movies, and I think that there's also a theme with me as with both Kick-Ass and Super, is that this different type of brutality and different version of a superhero that we just don't normally see.
Right. Yeah. Super. I actually recently watched this, and Rainn Wilson's is great, and Ellen Page, I think, practically steals that movie.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The brutality that's involved. It's one of these things where people are way in over their heads, and then when they actually start doing things that are quote unquote right, it gives you a different look at this character, like, because he's going around hitting people with wrenches, and they're like denting people's heads, like killing people pretty much, and he's struggling with this whole, like, is this right to do and everything. Of course, he's got this whole, like, guided by God, guided by Jesus. Nathan Fillion plays this character who's like some sort of, like, I guess, Jesus superhero type character who keeps giving him what Rainn Wilson believes are secret messages to keep doing the stuff that he's doing. And it's just, it's fun. James Gunn did that movie.
Yeah. That's crazy.
What else, guys?
I want to give some love to some animated straight-to-home video Batman movies.
Bring it.
Okay.
Now, I'm a Batman guy. I was a Batman boy all the way through college. Bat boy. And much like The Killing Joke, it was Killing Joke, right? It came out a year or so ago and hit the theaters, and then we sent it. They've taken a lot of the classic Batman storylines and turned them into animated films, and they've been playing a lot on HBO for the past few years, and I've watched several that I've really enjoyed. Now, that may be my Batman bias. I do want to give some shout out to Mask of the Phantasm, especially since it was just announced that's going to hit Blu-ray. It's not really underseen by Batman fans, but by film fans in general, it certainly is, and it's considered by a lot of Batman fans to be the best Batman movie, even over Dark Knight.
Sort of a novelty too, because it actually had a movie theater run. Yeah. Whereas these others, they may get like a weekend or something and then go straight to Blu-ray. But but that one actually had a run. I have a button from the movie theater.
Yeah. And I also love the Year One and the Dark Knight Returns. And there's 2 parts to the Dark Knight Returns, and I'm not sure the Batman community enjoys that one as much as I do. I think Year One is pretty well received in general. But I still read those stories regularly. I've got the graphic novels on my shelf. Like, it's just my happy place. So that's underseen on all 3 of those, I think.
Well, I'm actually on an underseen Batman movie also, and I think that it's the best Batman movie we've had in a little bit, and that's the Batman Lego movie.
Good call.
The Batman Lego movie it felt like over the last couple of years, as people were trying to find what the essence of Batman was all about, they nailed it, like 100% nailed it. And there's the comedy elements to it, but it took itself. It obviously played a lot of jokes, but it did take the character of Batman very seriously. Like, that is who Batman was. My 5.5-year-old daughter loves the film. I love the film, and I think that it did okay. It didn't have that kind of the same type of clout or financial gain that Warner Brothers was hoping it was going to have. And I think that a lot of people didn't see it because they're just like, the Batman Lego movie is a side character from the Lego film, and I think that was a mistake.
Yeah, kind of crazy too, because the Lego movie is just beloved, and I believe the Batman character was beloved in that thing too. So it was kind of interesting to see it not do as well as the original Lego movie did.
Yeah, and I think I loved Lego Batman, but I will say the last 20 minutes get so goddamn zany. Yeah. It's hard for me to focus and stay in it. But I do think you're right that amidst all the jokes, they got so much about Batman and Bruce Wayne correct. That I love that you brought that up. I love that.
Yeah.
Barrett, you got any underscenes?
I've got a very underseen movie that was way ahead of its time. It's Mystery Men.
I'm glad somebody's bringing that one up.
Man, what a cast.
What a cast, and what a bomb.
Yes.
Like, this movie did not, it was expected to do great, and almost nobody liked it.
I'm not sure if it was expected to do great, but it definitely had the pedigree to do great.
Sure.
Because it had all these people in it.
It did, but what a zany storyline. I mean,
Yeah.
these are hard characters, I guess, to get behind, especially if you're going in expecting a traditional superhero movie.
Yeah.
This movie grows on you hard.
Absolutely,
though.
it does.
I didn't really like it when I saw it as much as I hoped I would or expected to. And on multiple recent viewings, I'm like, man, this movie is the jam. Like, I'm totally feeling what it's going for right now.
Somehow, some way, you end up watching like all of it
Yes.
whenever it starts up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mystery Men, I tried to. I mean, it was funny because you said no one's brought it up, and I tried to ignore it. Hopefully, no one was going to bring it up. I'm just not. I've never been a Ben Stiller guy.
Yeah.
But it does say that everybody really says the same things that you guys just said, and that it holds up. It's better on repeat viewing, so I probably should go back and watch it again. Do you guys think The Losers counts as a superhero film?
The Losers.
Who's in this? Not Jason Biggs.
Chris
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Evans, Idris Elba. It was one of the last Joes.
Yeah, I saw this, but I can't remember much about it. I heard it. I remember liking it too.
The one with
It was Chris Evans,
Uhura?
and it was.
I have seen that.
Zoe Saldana. It was before they were all like the big cat. It was before.
Is that based on a comic?
I think that it was, and that's why I'm bringing it up. But I could be completely.
I really
wrong.
enjoy that movie. It's pretty campy, but I thought it was really
Underseen.
fun. It's what the Expendables movies should have been.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
It also came out around the time. I think there was some other movie. It was like, wasn't it like the A-Team? Like
Oh,
a
I
lot
think
of
you're right.
people
Maybe,
were
yeah.
comparing it to the A-Team, so it kind of sort of got lost in the shuffle of all of that type of stuff. But I remember like watching it and going, yeah, I kind of like this, but now I've totally forgotten most of everything about it. All right, on my underseen, I'm going to go with Dread.
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Great choice.
Dread is a movie that if you like The Raid,
Yeah.
you'll like Dread.
Yeah.
And Dread, the problem with it is that the stench of Judge Dredd from 1995 is so fierce.
Yeah.
It is a
That-
fierce stench.
So potent.
That even like 15 years later, they couldn't come out with a Dredd movie, and people go, "Oh, well, you mean like that Stallone shit that
Yeah.
came out?" Like, but this movie is, we were talking about, Dark Knight and stuff like that, doing, sort of taking it to a new level. I think Dredd kind of does that too. It's a smaller type of movie, but man, it's so fun to watch.
Well, and Carl Urban is just one of my favorite dudes. Like, he just keeps showing up. Like, he's great in the Star Trek series. He's great in the Lord of the Rings stuff. And he's great in this. And it's the balls of him, the director, in the movie to say, we're not going to even show his face. Like, he's going to keep that mask
Right.
on the entire time. I think subconsciously sells the story's realism, even though this is a crazy ass plot with a drug that makes time slow down.
Yeah.
And Cersei Lannister at the top of the building murdering fools. But I love the fuck out of this movie. I
I
watched
did too,
this
man.
movie and Lockout, the one where he goes to space with Maggie Grace. It's Memento.
Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce.
Oh,
Have you ever seen that?
no.
Oh, it's bad, but it's so much fun. And
I
I
hated
watched
them.
like a high quality sci-fi superhero comic thing, and then I watched a really low quality thing that was tons of fun. I really love the hell out of that movie, even though I think it's terrible.
Well, I remember Dread coming out, and I was telling people, you gotta watch Dread. It's way better than you'd think, and
Yeah.
everything. And it took a long time for some people to
Yeah.
actually end up watching it and everything. And they're like, "Yeah, you're right."
Yeah, the unfortunate part with Dread, not a lot of people seeing in the theaters. I think that I don't like 3D at all. I think it's completely overused and just a rip off of people's cash. But I think that the 3D that was used in Dread was some of the best since like Avatar. I think that it was done very well. I think that it's funny. The points that we really like about it is one of the reasons I think that it didn't do as well, because you just had an actor that Carl Urban, who I agree is great, isn't very famous, and so him leading in the first place is one thing. The second thing is that his face is covered the entire time. And then I agree that like, every single person that I had mentioned, I'm going to see Dread, like that. Oh, Stallone's doing another one. And it's like, no, Rob Schneider's nowhere to be seen. I promise.
I had the same sort of issue back in the day when Batman Begins came out.
Yeah.
Like, there were some people who just decided that those were connected to Batman Forever and Batman and Robin and all that, and they were like, why are they doing another one? And
Right.
and like even to the point that at the end of Batman Begins, when you see the Joker card and everything, I had somebody this guy who worked with me at the movie theater came up to me and said, Well, how can they bring Joker back? They killed him in that first one.
Right.
That's what Batman Begins was sort of dealing with back in 2005.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so underrated. Kristian, do you have an underrated one?
Yeah, I was just talking about this yesterday, actually. I think The Incredible Hulk's underrated.
Ooh,
I agree.
that's a good choice.
Yeah.
I think The Incredible Hulk is very underrated, and I think that one of the reasons it's so underrated is because the MCU, it wasn't really what it is today. It was still building. That fart bomb that Ang Lee did was still in everybody's noses, so that certainly didn't help it. And I think that
just
Edward
so you know,
Norton,
I almost picked that Ang Lee one for my underrated. Just FYI.
But just as an aside, the Ang Lee one is so well shot that you expect a better movie out of it.
You're fooled into thinking you're watching something better.
But
the giant dog scene is the best part. Nick Nolte, I still don't know what I was doing now. But no, I mean, I think that The Incredible Hulk, there was so much to it that really worked. I think if that movie comes out like 5 years later, it does a lot better at the box office, and more people really care about it in general, because the box office wasn't that strong. That's one of the reasons we hadn't seen that standalone movie. And with Thor Ragnarok, this is the first time I think that Hulk's going to finally get a little bit more of a starring role this time around.
Yeah. Well, and as I learned the hard way after making a mistake in a Sins video, this movie actually is the start of what we know of as the MCU. Because we've got, what's his name, playing the general in Civil War in this movie, playing the same character, like Betsy's dad or whatever the fuck.
Well, and then the end scene, like right before the credits, it's not necessarily a post-credit scene, but Downey and Hurt have that conversation at the bar at the end of it, and that's kind of setting it up also.
Yeah, and because they changed Hulk actors, my brain just never thought, oh, that was actually the first MCU movie.
Iron Man came out first.
Iron Man was the very first MCU movie.
Oh, it came out before Incredible Hulk?
And then Incredible Hulk came out later in the summer.
Well, then cut everything I said.
No, it doesn't really though, because the connection, the big connection of that scene really started to set up the Avengers initiative. So you're right, because what it did there in that particular scene was start to get our minds moving, even though the way that they were actually setting it up was kind of thrown in the trash. But it was to get our heads going. Well, wait a minute, they're going to put all these characters together, and I thought that was a nice setup for them to do it that way.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, what about you guys?
I could make a case for Hulk. I could, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do something just as stupid and try and make a case for Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
I'm leaving.
Now here's the problem. It is not as bad as we say it is. It's just so much worse than the first two. It feels worse. Right? Well, now, and there's crap in there. Emo Peter is not good. The final battle's not good. I can see Kristian is having a hard time biting his tongue. There is good shit in here. That opening fight with Harry is just as good as any of the battles and fights in the first two
Sandman's
movies. Sandman's transformation is fantastic. He's actually great. That actor's great. Thomas Hayden Church is great in the whole movie. I'm not a fan of the Venom stuff. There are problems. My point is, society treats this movie like an F-. And I think it's more like a D+ or a C-.
I'll give you that.
I'm not saying it's an A. I'm using the very literal definition of underrated. It is rated lower than I think it should be, even though it is a turd.
Yeah.
You're saying the criminal doesn't deserve the death penalty.
No.
Right.
No. Never. Actually. Let's get deep. Let's talk about corporal punishment.
Yes. And you made an important distinction, by the way, that underrated, like a lot of times we look at words like underrated and overrated and think they mean equal something. Like underrated equals, oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Overrated, oh, that means it's bad. Doesn't necessarily mean that. It means that I enjoy something that's overrated, but not as much as other people.
Right.
Well, it's funny that you bring up, I mean, it's very similar to what we were just talking about with Lord and Miller, is that Sam Raimi had a lot of issues with the studio for this one. Yep. He was made to put certain things into the movie he didn't want to. His certain vision didn't go in there. I still blame him for the dancing on top of the piano and all that silliness, because that single-handedly almost makes it an F for me. And everyone's crying in the movie. It doesn't matter who it is. If a pizza man delivers a pizza, he's crying when he goes. You're right that there's some stuff in there that you're like, well, wait a minute, you clearly had something, but it just all fell apart. So you lost me when you started talking about it, but you got me back when you started saying it's just a D+. I agree with you there.
What's fascinating to me is that they messed with him so hard on this third movie. Like,
Yeah.
He's a stud for you. Like Spider-Man opened to the highest grossing ever at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man 2 was an even bigger hit, and the critics loved it even more. You don't give that guy some rope?
Yeah.
You're going to force Venom down his throat for toy sales?
You know what? There's a lot of other things going on in there, too. And, these studios, I think, panic when they feel like they can't put in certain characters.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we need to jam them in right now so that we can build this universe and everything. And it's just too much. If they could have just been Sandman only, we would have been fine.
Yeah, I think that works a lot better.
And no emo Peter and all that.
Yeah. I think it's also a matter of regime change sometimes with studios. And I don't know if it's necessarily the case with that one, but I'm sure there's probably some executive changes from the time he was working on 2, from the time that he hit 3, and other cooks. There's too many cooks in the kitchen sometimes. So you never really know what's going on behind the scenes, who clashed with him and who was maybe not clashing with him when he was doing number 2.
Yeah. Barrett, do you got an underrated?
Yeah, and it's not a traditional superhero movie, but it's Constantine.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
This movie's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a lot better. It's 46% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It has Young Shia in it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Young Shia is the best Shia.
Yeah, that's really the only Shia you should be paying attention to. But man, there's very few exceptions. The Matrix and Bill and Ted's where I enjoy Canu's performance as much as I like this.
No.
He's a lot of fun. Like, he's relaxed. He's miserable. Like, he's survived a suicide attempt and he's destined for hell. So he's trying to win his way back. Rachel Weisz is really good in this.
Well, I forgot she was in that.
It's just a lot of fun, man.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell they're not taking themselves too seriously. And I know it's based on the comic book, which does the same. But there's a lot of elements in here that make it very, very watchable. I think it's underrated.
I haven't seen it in forever. I haven't seen it since it came out.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater. That was it.
Yeah.
Can I throw in the first half of Hancock?
Yeah,
Yes,
sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's probably it.
We talked about Hancock before, and the reason why I think ultimately that movie's not great is that we don't want the superhero. We don't want him to not be drunk anymore. We don't want him to get through his issues. We want him to be that all the way through. It's one of those things where if a character improves, it actually makes the movie worse.
Yeah, it should have been the bad Santa of superheroes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it made a ton of money, though. I'm surprised. I mean, they've been talking about a sequel forever, haven't they?
I think
Are they ever going to do it?
Not sure. I mean, I think Peter Berg's been doing so many different things, and I think he's kind of found his stride in the other movies, whether it's Patriots Day or Lone Survivor, and just what he's been doing in general. What was the other one he did with Wahlberg? But anyway, he's been doing a bunch. Yes, Deepwater Horizon.
Yeah.
I think that he's kind of found his stride there, and I know he directed an episode or 2 of Leftovers. I don't know if he's looking to go back to that genre, but who knows?
Yeah. I'm gonna on my underrated. I've got a couple. Watchmen is one that I have horrible time. Here's another one of those perfect examples of something being underrated and not necessarily being a complete success.
Yeah.
I love watching this movie though, and when I first watched it, I hated it.
Oh, really? On the first one?
Yeah, hated the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The next time I watched it, I was like, man, there are some great moments in here.
Yep.
And I will hold on to those moments as far as basically saying this is a much better movie than you think. I think there's a lot just really stupid. The sex scene is dumb.
Yeah.
Just general things like that. It's way too long.
Yes, it is.
But overall, I think it's I think it's a decent movie.
Yeah, it's got the Zack Snyder trademark of being overlong and overwrought. But if he had an editor that could say, no, we need to really need to trim this, there's definitely a good movie in there. And I think he was too beholden to the graphic novel fans. I mean, he literally wanted to shoot every page except for, of course, the end, which I think if they had gone for that, it would have really been awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a pocket out there, we may find out in a second if Kristian's a part of it, that adores this movie and thinks it's an A+. That has never been me. This movie and Cloud Atlas are the same movie to me in that I've watched them 5 or 6 times and I still can't tell you how I truly feel about them.
Yeah.
There's enough good that I keep going back, but there's enough bad that I can't really embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a good call. I don't think in our circle that movie is nearly as bad as we talk about it as being.
Well, and on the IMDb, it's a 7.6.
Oh, wow.
Really?
That's way up there.
Wow.
But yeah, that's one that in general I have a hard time. If I bring up that I kind of like it, people kind of go, no, it's just a terrible movie.
It's at 65% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
I think it's a movie that needs to be watched again for sure. And I do think, I mean, I'm with you actually, Jeremy. I think it's a movie that I watch and I go, I visually, I really like that's. I feel you say that about Zack Snyder every time. Visually, he knocks it out of the park every single time. And as far as looking at the graphic novel and be able to take it straight from the page and put it on he succeeded 100%.
Yeah.
I just felt like something didn't transfer over from the graphic novel as far as storytelling went. And I thought Matthew Good, who I have grown to like since, was horrendous.
Oh yeah.
He was so bad in the ending that I was like, I just bailed completely from it because he was so bad. But it's funny because that could be just something of an actor who's pretty talented working with a director that just didn't direct him the right way. It just, there were certain things in that movie. I thought Rorschach was the best part about it. There are things in there more so than we were just talking about with Spider-Man 3, but there are a lot of things in there that work. It just was a movie that I was looking forward to because I was such a fan of the graphic novel that I didn't really like it the way I wanted to.
Interesting.
Another one that I'd throw out there, we don't need to talk about it too much, is The Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
It's another one that I think has gotten decently rated over the years. IMDb's got it at 7. But every time I'm in like some sort of company and there's that one gets mentioned, people generally say, "Oh, that was terrible."
Well,
like it's a terrible movie.
When it came out, I remember its reception being lukewarm. Just because it wasn't up to what Raimi was doing in the early part of his run.
It's better than Spider-Man 3.
But here's the deal. It's got its problems. The turning of the cranes is as cheesy as emo Peter. I'm not going to lie to you. But there's something about Andrew Garfield in this role that makes me like Spider-Man and Peter Parker more than when Tobey Maguire was in the role. And I think Tobey Maguire is totally likable and a great actor. But there was some kind of edge there that he brought, and I'm really sad, especially because Emma Stone was playing his Gwen. Really sad that, well, she died in the second one, so I guess she wouldn't have continued. I'm sad we don't get to keep seeing these people because I think he would have been a great Spider-Man, even in this MCU.
Yeah. I mean, I actually really like the first The Amazing Spider-Man. I think it's because Andrew Garfield was, to me, I mean, now I do think that Tom Holland is the perfect version of Spider-Man that I read in the comics. But I think but Andrew Garfield was really the first one I said, well, that's kind of the Spider-Man that I knew. Even though Raimi did it better in 2 as far as an overall film, I felt like they captured the essence of who Spider-Man really was in that first one. The problem was that they were doing the Ian Ziering, 90210, is that he was like 35 playing a 17-year-old. So it's so there was only so long he could do it, but he knew. But Garfield was a fan of the character. You could see it. The chemistry between him and Emma Stone were great. There was some sloppy stuff going on for sure, but I even thought that their relationship with Dennis Leary worked very well.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot in there that I thought was good and warranted a sequel. They just dropped the ball so bad for the sequel that Marvel said, "Thank you."
Yeah, they dropped it hard.
That was the first time that Andrew Garfield was compared to Ian Ziering.
Yes, that's true. It's very true.
Good.
Okay, so is there anything else that you guys want to bring up in this topic at all?
Yeah, I forgot to mention in my favorites, Spawn. No, I'm just kidding.
What about the HBO animated series that came out for Spawn?
Oh man, I love it.
Yeah, that was good.
Spawn's worth watching if you ever pass it. If you're on a scene with John Leguizamo, it's funny.
Yeah,
that's about the only thing you can say about it.
But the animated HBO series reminds me that they're going to do a Watchmen animated series with Damon Lindelof heading it. That could be good. You never know. HBO.
They're also, by the way, from what I've read, DC is going to start merging the Watchmen in the comics into their regular universe with Batman and stuff.
Huh.
Well, it would make sense why Zack Snyder puts all these Watchmen things in his Batman v Superman and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just think he likes Watchmen too much.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
All right, well, that'll do it for this topic. Now, I'm sorry, I'm unfamiliar. Do you need to go, Kristian, or can you stay on, or what's going on?
Yeah, I guess stick around for a little bit more if you guys want to keep me on. Sure.
We're gonna talk about box office hits and stuff like that.
It's not about the money.
Straight cash, money, Lebowski.
When do we talk about money?
Money. That's the easy part.
What are people watching today? And I guess just general discussion about box office in general. Since we're in the summer and everything, and records get broken, it seems like every year.
Yeah.
There are two modes of thought here. One is there are these records are hollow because not nearly as many people are watching movies as they used to. But at the same time, I hate it when people say Gone with the Wind would have been an all-time box office champ because of inflation, and it's like, yeah, but if Gone with the Wind came out today, it wouldn't make $1 billion, dollars. There's no way it would.
And as I think I said before when we discussed Gone with the Wind, it didn't have the competition. There weren't 4,000 screens, playing Gone with the Wind up against Titanic or something. I mean, it was basically the only game in town.
Right.
So, I mean, you have to, I've never liked that account for inflation thing. Inflation is real. I get it. But I wish we would stop counting money and start counting tickets sold or something along that.
But you know what? The reason why it'll never be that way is because, first off, I think it's difficult to figure that out. Like the number of people, maybe it's not as hard as I'm thinking it is, but people don't really care about the people numbers. Yeah. Like if you find out that, it was 1.2 million people watched it or whatever, it's not as sexy as seeing money. The money. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, I mean, the other thing that's really big right now too is that it's less about. It used to be all about what did it make in the U.S. domestically? It made so much domestically. It's a hit. Internationally, is starting to change franchise expansion in general because you look at Triple X Triple X didn't do very well here at all, but it did well internationally, so that's getting another movie. The Mummy's doing well internationally. Transformers does okay here now and does great internationally. So international box office is something where the numbers are really being looked at in order for franchises to continue.
Yeah, movie fans are going to have a rude awakening as we slowly realize we're not the center of the universe, right? Why do they keep making Pirates and Ice Age movies? Because the fucking rest of the world eats that shit up, even though we're tired of it. Guys, they love it.
You look at worldwide grosses, the movies that dominate that list all pretty much come from the last 7 years. There's one Titanic that's the anomaly in all this, but and then if you get even past the top 15 of those, it's 2000 this, 2000 that, 2000. The international market is so much more important than it used to be, and I still hear people say, well, it made only this amount of money or whatever, talking about the domestic gross, and like Kristian was saying, the Mummy is going to end up making money, or at least break even by the time.
It'll make money. It's definitely going to make. But internationally, it'll make money.
Especially known properties. Not all of them, but a great majority of these things are sequels. You got all the Fast and Furiouses. You've got the Pirates movies. You've got the Star Wars movies. Everything is a known property, and that's, I guess, driving all that worldwide interest.
Case in point. In the top 15 of worldwide grosses right now, there are 2 movies from this year that are in that list. Beauty and the Beast, which has made over $1.2 billion worldwide.
Wow.
And The Fate of the Furious.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's made over $1.2 billion.
And these are months old. It's not even like it's been the entire year.
Yeah,
Fate
exactly.
hit 1.2 already, huh?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, that's why, and that's what's going to keep happening, man. And you look at, and that's why if you look at even with Triple X, is that the box office, the movie star. It definitely, for us domestically, the movie star is leading a movie is kind of the way of the dinosaur. It doesn't really happen anymore. It's more about genre. It's more about sometimes even director than it is the movie star. However, internationally, that's not really the case. Vin Diesel, Tom Cruise, they still open movies internationally. The movie star opens internationally, doesn't necessarily open domestically.
Well, that's the thing. That Tom Cruise thing is an interesting sort of aspect, right? Because here in America, his image got super tarnished. And I mean, there's still people who are like, I like Tom Cruise, whatever, who cares what he does outside of this or whatever. But worldwide, it's not the same deal. They don't care about all that type of stuff that we get all hyped up on and everything. Tom Cruise is still Tom Cruise. So, anything he comes out with is going to have a high profile.
Well, and we are talking in general terms, international box office, but I think China is one of the biggest reasons this is blown up so much, because we've only recently been able to get our films regularly into China to be seen, because this is a communist country that greatly controls everything. And I remember, Iron Man 3, I think, was the one that shot different scenes for the Chinese version of the movie than they shot for the American version.
And Iron Man 3 is in the top 15 all time worldwide.
Jesus! And see, here's my... I may be wrong, but I have this inkling that our obsession as a culture with box office numbers, and specifically opening weekend box office numbers, now you'll see headlines with how much a movie makes on Thursday night before it opens on Friday. I think it has trained us as a culture to be more obsessed with that first weekend, both as when we're going to go see it and how much we care about it, right? Because some of these numbers you're dropping about total box office, I've never heard these. All I remember hearing was that Beauty and the Beast had like the biggest something opening ever. And I was like, well, that's because everybody went to see it. It used to be back in the day, you would wait a little while for word of mouth and reviews, and you wouldn't give so much money to Transformers The Last Night opening weekend. You would wait to find out if it was good before you gave it any money. And now we're in this perpetual motion machine.
Got to be first to watch it and then say something about it.
Yeah, but that's also because so much comes out now. I mean, like it's like summer. Summer's extended. The summer season movies have extended now, essentially in April, and even you can even make an argument with March. You know, like last year with Batman v Superman, because the real estate is not there anymore the way it used to be. Like there was like 1 or 2 big movies, and then like the little side movies. But now with MCU, DCEU, Star Wars, like all this stuff. There's so much to be had in this time period that you have to go see it first. Otherwise, the movie that you want to see next week is out in theaters, or you don't want to spend the money on it at all.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Very good point.
So what are we watching? What's making the money? Basically, you look at the top 10 worldwide. It's Avatar, Titanic, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, Jurassic World, The Avengers, Furious 7, Avengers: Age of Ultron, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, Frozen, and Beauty and the Beast are in the top 10. And there's very few just original movies in that top 10.
Or good ones.
Yeah, you could make an argument about that too.
I think I heard a few that I would call good to great, and then I heard a lot of shit. Yeah. Like when we were prepping for this episode, I went to IMDb or someplace, Mojo, whatever, looked up the top 50 grossing movies of all time. And I emailed you guys and said, what a bunch of shit. Like, we just love shit movies. Like, because originally we were planning to pick favorites and underseen and underrated and best out of this list, and I couldn't come up with anything. I don't like any of these movies enough to say it's my favorite. Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, fucking Minions is 13.
I know.
Minions stinks.
Oh my God, fucking Minions.
Yeah.
13th all time.
Not a big Minions fan.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can't fucking believe that shit. Anyway, thanks to Kristian Harloff for coming out here and talking to us. Over Skype, not out here, but you know what I mean.
Virtually out here.
Yes, through the digital, the digital tubes.
He went into the internet like Freakazoid.
That's right, man. It's like Tron Legacy up in this bitch.
Black Cat Deja Vu.
Yes, it is.
Hey, would you give our listeners one more roundup of where they can find you if they want to follow you on Twitter or watch your videos and stuff like that?
Absolutely. And thanks again, guys. I had a lot of fun talking with you guys. I'd love to talk with you about movies anytime you want. So for me, if you want to find me on Twitter or Instagram, it's just at Kristian, at Kristian, Harloff, Harloff. As far as videos go, Schmoes Know, obviously, on YouTube. But Collider Video, we have Collider Movie Talk, which is essentially kind of sports center for movies. Collider Jedi Council. But like I talked about at the top of the show, the Movie Trivia Schmoedown is kind of my baby and a thing I'm very proud of. Go there. Go to the playlist, Movie Trivia Schmoedown on Collider Videos. Please give us a subscribe if you can. And thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for spending so much time talking movies. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to coming out there in August.
Yeah, we'll see you in a couple months.
In August.
All right, guys. So, thanks to Kristian Harloff for coming in. We're going to talk a little bit more still about some box office, even though he has left us. Barrett, what were you talking about that you wanted to bring up?
I mean, some of the surprises that I saw on the worldwide list, I know that there's a bunch of shit, but it's very interesting to me that there's 2 Furiouses in the top 11.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though it's a known property and there's Vin Diesel and there's something driving it, no pun intended.
Right.
That's just ludicrous to me. And it's got to be some sort of formula that the studios can punch in and say, this is going to appeal to this audience, obviously a multicultural audience, a cast that'll sell, a very simplistic story, unbelievable type of stunts, and that's going to be it. But is that going to be the way of the future? And that's going to be the leaders from here on out?
We used to live in a time when the top 10 all-time highest-grossing movies list was some measure of reflection of the culture's esteem of that film, right? Because you had shit like back when I was a kid, it was shit like E.T. and Star Wars. It's just beloved stuff. And now you look through this list, and very few of these are like beloved, right? Like Minions.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody's going, oh, God, I love the Minions.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah. And so what's happened is now that the dollars don't represent the same thing they used to, it just represents pure profit. And, they're just going to keep driving that.
Let's put this through a randomizer here for a second, because I did when I was going through. Yeah, Jeremy. That
was my randomizer noise.
Expert randomizer noise. That's exactly how it sounds. I went through and I started because a lot of good box office research is to see if a movie ever was in the top 10. And you see stuff like Jurassic Park, which was way up there when it first came out in 1993. It was second all time behind E.T.
Wow.
That's in 1993. It's now 24th all time.
Interesting. And E.T. was up there forever too, wasn't it?
E.T. was. Now E.T. had several advantages. It was re-released many times. So was Star Wars. Which is always in that top 10, even now I think it's in is it still?
It's 70 worldwide and it's still number 11 domestic.
Yeah, it's and Star Wars had, like I said, numerous re-releases. But I looked back in 1983 at what the top 10 of all time was.
I'm curious to hear this list.
E.T. was number 1, and then Star Wars, Jaws, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back, The Exorcist, Gone with the Wind, Grease. This is the unadjusted Gone with the Wind. Grease, The Sound of Music, and The Sting.
Pretty much all great movies.
Interesting.
Almost all of these are good.
Very Spielbergy.
I still haven't seen Pretty Dresses yet, but other than that, the list sounded pretty quality.
Pretty Dresses?
Yeah.
Oh.
Gone with the Pretty Dresses.
Gone with the Wind subtitle.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty Dresses.
But, and then you go further down, you see Animal House is on the 11th, Superman, The Godfather, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Still all great movies.
Smokey and the Bandit.
No shit. Wow.
Was
Burt Reynolds, man. He had his day.
Yeah, he was a huge star.
It was before my time, but he had his day.
Rocky 3 was 16th, Blazing Saddles, On Golden Pond, the first Rocky, The Towering Inferno, finishes out the top 20. Most of those were good. Now you get into the 1993, it's still almost the same. That's how weird this whole box office is. It's almost the same. There's a couple of changes, but E.T. still number 1, Jurassic Park second, Star Wars is third, and Home Alone was 4th.
Oh, wow.
In 1993, Home Alone was the 4th highest grossing movie of all time. Then you have Return of the Jedi, Jaws, Batman, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Ghostbusters, and Beverly Hills Cop.
Still all pretty much great movies.
Yeah, and so I forget that Ghost was up there too. Ghost was 12th in 1993.
Made a ton of money.
Yeah, it did.
Patrick Swayze had his day.
But by the time, it really is a huge change by the time, I also screenshotted 2003 where it's still kind of the same. It's after 2003 where you start getting all these franchises, that's where everything's at this point. Hardly anything original is in that. And it's sometimes debatable, some of these original ones, whether you can call them original or not. Like Avatar,
not original. It's not even a debate.
It's an original property, but it's not an original movie at all. Yeah. It's got all the other movies in it.
Yep.
And,
all of them.
Yeah.
Even Pretty Dresses.
Right. And Pretty Dresses. And Titanic, can you really say that's original? It's based on something that actually happened and you stuck a Romeo and Juliet type of, love story on it. So it's not really, not really anything super original or anything.
And that guy played Romeo.
Yes, he did.
He did.
He played Romeo in 2 movies. I just realized that. He did. By the way, that Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet was on the other day.
Yeah.
Past. Boy, did not hold up any of the stuff I liked from the first viewing. It's not.
Oh,
there
it's
anymore.
horrible.
It's just impossible to watch. I couldn't even get through it.
Yeah,
oh, thank God. I thought I was the only person that just hated that movie.
First time I saw it, I kind of dug what it was going for, but saw flaws. Now I just see all flaws.
It's just too manic.
It is.
It's that's the thing about it. I look back fondly at that movie too, but when I really go deep down into it, I'm like, man, there's some really annoying shit in this.
That opening gunfight with John Leguizamo is overcut more than that fence jump in Taken 3. It's just like the editor took acid and just went to town.
He just went. Baz Luhrmann went crazy on that movie. Just a lot of like it's like watching Oliver Stone try to direct a musical back in the 90s or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and just some insanity in there. But there's some moments that I like the scene where they see each other for the first time, Romeo and Juliet. They see each other behind the fish tank.
What is that, a Cardigan song that's playing in that?
Well, there is a Cardigan song in there, and it was famously sent up by Hot Fuzz later on.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the funniest parts of Hot Fuzz. Anyway, our tastes have obviously changed, and the way movies are marketed have changed. So movies that make tons and tons of money, they're not necessarily good or great or memorable.
Right.
I was thinking about this the other day. There was a movie that I don't do people still watch Wild Hogs?
I flipped past it once the other day.
Huge hit.
Was it
Tim
really?
Allen
Huge hit. Huge.
Oh, my God.
Like Tim Allen, John Travolta. Yeah, it was like aging biker guys. William H. Macy. Yeah, aging biker guys. And I remember when that came out, I was like, oh, okay, that should be a decent hit. It was huge. But I was like, the other day, that movie popped into my head, and I was like, do people still look back at that movie and go, man, I love Wild Hogs.
I gotta watch me some Wild Hogs.
I've got the DVD. I'm going to pop that in.
I doubt it. It's probably just fallen off the collective consciousness.
Yeah.
Never appealed to me. Maybe there's just more of a biker fan base out there. They should make more biker-based movies.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there is.
Anyway, I guess the point of what we're saying here is, things are completely different. The international box office is way more. Even still, I mean, I think we've been talking about this for years, that international box office is way more than it's a reason for a movie being made now more than anything now. That's why you have another Pirates, another Transformers. All these movies just make, I mean, they can spend $300 million on a movie knowing it's going to make $600-700 million total.
What's funny is when you go through this list and you start seeing the budgets and comparing it against the box office. And you go from, $1 million in the early days to, up to 10 million. Then you had, the big ones in the 80s getting up to about like 20, 30, 40 million. And then you see like a straight up 200 million budget for something that they know is going to make over $1 billion. Yeah. It's insane, man.
And I remember when Terminator 2 came out, it had a budget of like 80 or 90 million. Mm-hmm. And people were like, "Oh my God," and they didn't have any idea what was about to happen. But
hey, well, you know how I don't do those Dear Hollywood videos anymore on my side channel? There's a reason. They don't care about me. I'm American. They don't. I'm telling you, their decisions are not being made based on what my demographic gives a shit about.
I would like to see though over the next, because this is a fairly new phenomenon. This whole like worldwide box office thing being as important as it is. It's only been in the last 10 years. I am kind of interested to see if other countries will start getting tired of all this bullshit. And then there'll be a real problem.
Yeah, that would be fun. Like if China somehow unpredictably goes, oh, no, we hate Ice Age. And Fox puts an Ice Age 7 out and it like tanks, loses money, and Fox has to fold.
Yeah. I mean, totally. That would be awesome. So Nature Box, man. They sent in a box just a couple of days ago, and I instantly opened it up and tore open all 5 packages inside.
And put all of them in a big bowl and just like
exactly shook them.
And what stood out? What did you enjoy?
Okay, all of them.
Okay.
But first off, they have these key lime cookies.
Oh my God!
Holy crap, man! Those things are awesome.
Yes, they are.
And it's a flavor I would have never thought of before. Like it's like I like lime. I like key lime stuff, whatever. But never thought about a cookie having that kind of, and you put them in your mouth, man. Yeah. Oh my God, surrender. Like your fucking cheap trick all of a sudden, man.
Let me take a look at these things. They're sitting right next to me because I'm curious. We took a family vacation when I was 15. We went down the Florida Keys, and basically every other person on Key West will tell you, real key lime pie is not green. It's yellow. And I'm looking at these cookies, and they look more yellow than they do green.
Well, see?
Makes it sound
authenticity.
Authentic.
Yeah, baby.
My wife and I have been turned into puppy dogs by NatureBox, like the dog that sits at the window wagging his tail until Dad comes back from work. This is when we know we have a NatureBox coming. I probably will check the front porch 12 times a day until that fucker gets there. Sorry, I just said the F word. Because we love it so much. The anticipation is ramped up, and now it's to the point where neither one of us will open the box without the other one present.
Oh.
There's a ceremony to it now. Like opening the case
do
in
you
Pulp
get in,
Fiction.
do you get in robes and stuff?
No, we don't
light some candles.
Yeah.
Haven't gone that far. We don't have like a theme music we play or anything.
Oh, fuck, that'd be awesome, though, if you shot that. You get the NatureBox in, and it's like just normal, everyday suburban life and everything, and you're like, all right, what are we going to do now? You know what we're going to do. And then, like, everything's dark, candle lit. There's
there could be some, like, chanting.
Yeah, exactly. There's like something you're going to sacrifice in the corner.
It's going to be an unhealthy snack.
Yeah, exactly.
I just love that we're living in an age where healthy snacks can be so tasty.
Yep.
My newest jam is the crispy mini snickerdoodles.
Ooh, nice.
Holy balls. I ordered 2 bags in my most recent shipment. I've already eaten half of one of those bags. That came in yesterday.
Nice.
And, maybe I'm eating more than I should, but I'm still better than eating 5 chocolate chip cookies from the grocery or something. You know what I mean?
That's
'Cause
true.
I know that this is free of preservatives and additives and all that garbage. They're using healthy ingredients.
And you can get a deal through us. We are your dealer.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
we're your
Candy man.
We're even going to
man.
give you a small taste free, right?
We'll hook you up.
Tell them about it.
Baby, we'll give you a taste. Just a little taste.
That's right.
What you're going to do is if you go to naturebox.com/SinCast, you're going to get 3 free snacks with your first order.
Wowzers.
I mean, come on now. We're giving you 3 free snacks. All you have to do is enter the promo code SINS, S-I-N-S. Now, when I did this, you didn't even have to put that stuff in, man. It just like appeared. The SINS thing, because if you go to the URL, it's going to get that in there. You're going to be on your way. You're going to be snacking before you know it.
I want to make a point to talk about how much we enjoy our behind-the-scenes dealings with NatureBox, because it's one thing to praise the product, but it's another thing. These are genuinely good people that we have had a great time working with, and sometimes our ads will go close enough to the line that we'll send it for approval, and sometimes they'll say something like, "Oh no, we were laughing our asses off. We thought that was funny when you said fuck." But they've just been awesome people to deal with from the top all the way down, and so I really wanted to make a point to point that out.
That's a good call.
And say the word point 6 times.
Absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, get your ass some snacks.
Go to
and your mouth.
naturebox.com/SinCast. Promo code SINS. 3 free snacks with your first box. 3.
Yeah. 3.
Crazy.
All right. Ready for some questions?
Let's do it.
Question. I got something to say. I want the truth.
I'm listening.
What do you guys think is the best looking world in a movie? For this person, it is Tron Legacy. The grid is so visually compelling that it makes them wish for a Tron 3 just for more chances to see that world. Now, that's a great pick. That is a gorgeous world.
Man, I will watch that movie any day.
Yeah.
I think it's better than most do, but half the reason is how gorgeous it is.
Yeah.
It's just visually stunning. So that's an interesting example. The first thing that my mind went to, because this is not asking what the best looking movie is. We're not talking about cinematography. We're talking about the world created that the movie takes place in. I went right to Her. Joaquin Phoenix.
Nice.
Because it's near future, and you can see it in the background out the windows with some of the architecture. There's technology here and there, the little pops of color. It just really felt like I was living in a very near future, and this was all it helped sell that relationship so much that the world felt so authentically real.
What a goddamn good movie that is. We didn't get a chance much to talk about that during that whole like bracket thing and everything, but that's one that is just fucking awesome.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's my happy place.
I'm gonna say Blade Runner.
Ooh,
yeah, nice.
Very good call.
Now, the future of Blade Runner is not necessarily one that you want to be in or anything, but the Ridley Scott, general way his movies look and everything, Blade Runner is a divisive movie. I think there's more people I've run into that hate it than love it. I'm I like it, but every time if I see it on, I will turn it on. Like if it's on HBO or something like that, and I'm just immediately wrapped up with how everything just looks. And this Denis Villeneuve sequel that's coming out later on in the year, that looks just like it. It's like he's just got the look down. And there's just something about sci-fi worlds like that just draw me in. In Blade Runner, there's like, these futuristic advertisements and everything, these billboards and everything. Everything's got this just enough color and a hint of color here and there. Very dark world, but it's also just somewhat beautiful too.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Man, I love playing with color. The best use of it, always my mind goes back to that bathroom scene in The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
That just deep red in that conversation just grabs you.
Yeah.
And the immediacy of it. And Stanley Kubrick had this ability to just play with color and play with scenery so much in completely different genres. And the three that I'll mention, 2001: A Space Odyssey, The Shining, and then Eyes Wide Shut, could not be more different movies.
No, that's
but
true.
they are all visually stunning.
Mm-hmm.
The 2001, obviously, is a sci-fi epic and everything, and goes to different kind of vignettes within it. But all of them are visually arresting. The whole mainframe journey that Dave goes through to shut down HAL, the space docking scene, obviously. Some people would argue about going through the portal at the end being a little bit cheesy, but I thought that still holds up. I think it's just cool, and seeing him age in those rooms at the end too. I love it, man.
There's a couple of movies that are not very good that sort of fit under this. Like we talked recently about What Dreams May Come, which has that really cool look to it, and everything. Movie's terrible.
Yeah.
The Cell is another one that has that.
I thought about that. Yeah. Tarsem
Singh
had a really, I say had, he's not dead, but but
just like Julie Andrews.
Yeah, I mean, like it's this and The Fall he did as a follow up to it. Have a really great visual presence to it. He just doesn't have the meat to kind of support it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Too much taters, not enough meat.
Okay, here's an interesting one. Are there any films that you think would work better as a TV series, and or any TV series that you wish that could be seen as a film?
I really like my answers for half of this. I'm going to give you two. I think if they had given Warcraft a Game of Thrones style run, 8 to 10 episodes, large budget, treat it like a film, and take your time to build this world. Instead of essentially trying to please fans of the game and teach everyone new what's going on, all in that one first movie. I've never played the game, but I saw enough there that reminded me of Game of Thrones and other similar fantasy properties that I think that might have succeeded better quality-wise if they'd given it more time on television instead of just a 2-hour movie.
Everybody talks about how video game movies are so derided.
Right.
Why don't more of them try a series? I mean, because that would be more of immersing you in that world.
I think
similar
you'll
to
see
the video
it because
games thing.
Marvel has had so much success on Netflix with their series. I think you're going to see something. I think the first great video game property might be a show, not a movie.
Yeah.
The other one I wanted to mention is Zodiac, which is a fantastic movie. I'm not saying it's not, but it covers so much time that I would love to take a deep dive into that Jake Gyllenhaal character and just like Walter White, like watch him become obsessed much more slowly, a bit at a time. I think it works perfectly as a movie. I just think it would also work really well as an extended series. Just because there's so much to talk about and cover, so much character development we could get more nuanced with.
That's such a great pick.
Yeah,
I would totally watch that.
Yeah, I would too. Zodiac the show. Hey, you know what? We'll probably go home and that'll be a headline.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it happen.
Yeah, David Fincher heading Zodiac TV series.
Nothing would surprise me anymore.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Me too, man. I watch the shit out of that movie pretty regularly. It's creepy though.
Yeah, it is.
It gives me bad dreams sometimes. Okay, and then so the other half of the question was shows that might work better as movies. My favorite answer here is The Real World.
Oh,
just because I think you could get a raucous Hangover Bridesmaid style comedy out of that scenario.
Now,
out of reality, like actually reality footage?
No, I would script it.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing. Now, there has been a movie. You're talking about a fictionalized version of
it?
Okay.
Like
a Spring
a
Breakers
wet, hot
type of
American summer tone set in a real world style situation. I think that would work really well.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see the trailer for Wet Hot American Summer? The 10 years later.
I didn't watch it. I saw the headline.
What now?
They're doing a sequel to Wet Hot American Summer, the limited series on Netflix, where they're 10 years later.
Oh, I didn't see that. No.
And Adam Scott's been added to the cast.
Nice.
Oh, this cast is insane, but the trailer is fucking hilarious because so that was in 1981. It's in 1991 now, and they come back and they're finally starting to bag on Paul Rudd's character for looking old. And he's got like a grunge goatee, and he's sitting there talking to, I guess it's Elizabeth Banks is his girlfriend, or one of the other girls that's his girlfriend. And she's like, I don't know, there's not really much we can do. And he's like, we can do more with our tongues and our butts.
I think my favorite part of that movie is how much it fucks with time. Because, like, the specific example is that when those two kids see the gay wedding taking place, which is also appears to be like some kind of christening at the same time because they're in the water, and they're like, "Oh, he's gay. What are we gonna do?" It cuts right to capture the flag, and everyone involved in that wedding is back to wearing regular clothes and running around playing capture the flag. And it's like everybody is everywhere always.
Oh yeah, I believe there's a point where Janine Garofalo is in two different spots.
Yeah,
because she's running around. I think there's a point where she's running around. She's trying to warn somebody about something, but then there's another like section of the movie where she's just there playing off of somebody. It's very like loose and detached and everything.
It feels very intentional to me.
I love it too. The thing is, I think that whole thing is like the last day.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think
it's the last day of camp, and they get all that stuff done. Yeah.
Well, and they save the world.
Yeah, and they save the world.
Asteroid.
Yeah. All right, so the first one I'm going to mention actually did get made into a TV series. Was Barbershop.
Oh,
the first time I watched Barbershop, and I really enjoyed it, especially because Cedric the Entertainer is so funny in that. But it has this sort of familiar, folksy feel to it. Like you want to just keep going back to this place and just and like experience all these different things. And it's like it could have numerous episodes of it. Now it did try, I guess. It had 13 episodes or something back in 2005.
Oh, really?
Man, didn't they already also make a series out of his Are We There Yet movies?
Probably.
He's had some success, that guy. I bet you Ice Cube has some money.
Yeah, he might.
Probably does.
Just a little bit.
But
that's interesting because the sequels seem like they're stretching a premise each time, and that it would be perfectly suited to like a Netflix 30, 40 minute episode.
If it's just them in the barbershop, it doesn't have to be these big, long, arching stories or anything. Just them in the barbershop ripping on things and talking about, current events and stuff like that. Oh, I would be there.
Yeah.
Now,
awesome.
I don't know how that TV series went. I don't know if that's exactly what they did and just nobody watched it or what. But I when I first watched that, I was like, this would be a good TV series. Another one, TV show that would have been better as a movie is Prison Break.
Yeah, that's a good call.
The first time I ever saw a trailer for Prison Break before it came out, I was like, how do you make 3 or 4 or 5 seasons out of this? And the answer is you don't. They
brought it back, though.
They did bring it back. Yeah. I don't know, too. I guess, it couldn't have been a success, right?
I don't think so.
The thing is that, the series, I remember watching this because I used to love watching that show. And it has this crazy premise that this guy's brother gets, incarcerated. So all during this like a year or so, he tattoos the prison blueprints on his body and all these other like little keywords and codes and stuff like that. And then he goes out and commits a crime and finds a way to get to that exact same jail.
Yeah.
And then he's like, so then the whole thing is like, all right, I've got the blueprints of this prison on my body. And like they like every episode they would get so far and then there would be some other obstacle that would make them have to go all the way back. And it was like, oh, they're doing it, man. You can see it outside. Oh no, it was a door they didn't expect. It was built in the past year,
Yeah, I could see this playing as a movie in that Jason Statham action film kind of way, where it's kind of having fun with the ridiculousness of the premise, not Not too much. Like I don't want this to go Fast and Furious. Although I guess the Crank movies are more ridiculous than that.
Oh yeah.
But if you can have a little fun, wink along with the action, I think that's a great idea.
Well, I mean, sure, there's been a lot of Prison Break movies, but not with that premise before.
No,
you
if
know?
you do a high-minded version of that Stallone Schwarzenegger,
Escape Plan,
yeah,
yeah,
you know?
which is another movie that had great promise to me.
Uh-huh.
And then it just,
and another movie they're making a sequel to.
Yeah, I mean, it had great promise, and then I think they fucked it up a little bit. But yeah, it would have been a great one. I did want to mention another one that I watched for 3 or 4 episodes before I realized there's just no way they could sustain this whole thing. Do you remember a show called The Nine?
I do.
Yes.
It was a show where all these people were held up at a bank. And they're telling about the bank heist in flashback, so it's all they get out of it. But there's I don't know if you know if all of them get out of it or not. Like there's some characters you see I don't think you ever see, like them talking later or whatever. But it was one of those things where it set up this thing. What happened at the bank? And it was like the hostage. You would see every once in a while. You see a hostage go and talk to one of the robbers, like on the outside, like you're like, oh, what's that all about? And I was just like, but there's no way you can make this whole thing into like a lasting series because.
No, it's
you're
insular.
You're just going to keep on like going back and saying all this happened at this bank heist. And you're gonna start running out of time as far as like what actually happened, or you're gonna start piling stuff on. Well, this guy was an unreliable narrator, so what really happened was that type of bullshit.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was one that I thought would have been a better movie.
Good call.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
I wish Joss Whedon would have taken another crack at Buffy the Vampire Slayer as a movie with the TV show cast. He proved that, or this property proved that they could exist in multiple storylines and in great characterizations from Buffy and the bit players. And if you had put them back into a feature length type of pod, I think it would have worked really well. You saw what happened with Firefly and Serenity, which was a really good movie, really satisfying. It a lot, yeah. I think he could have done that again with the
Dude,
the
you
Buffy
know what?
cast.
If they came out with a Buffy movie today, I think it would slam, just be awesome,
right?
Like a huge hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, and even though, of course, all the actors from Buffy the Vampire Slayer are in their 40s now. Like, I think you could probably still do it, right? Yeah. Like they don't look like, I don't think any of them look like so old that it's like Star Trek or some shit.
It's not like David Boreanaz is geriatric.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you take a look at a lot of these actors today, and it's like Charisma Carpenter still looks awesome, and like Seth Green, he's one of those Paul Rudd type of guys.
Yeah, exactly. Sarah Michelle Gellar still looks great.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like you could do it as like that. Maybe it's just maybe their thing now is that they're at shitty jobs or something like that.
Yeah.
They have to do that at night, and then they go back in the morning to do their shitty job and everything. I think it would be huge if they did it.
I mean, because awesome. Even as great as that series was, there are throwaway episodes and there's throwaway storylines and that kind of thing. The Initiative and shit like that. That if you got Spike back together in a feature length with with the demon, what was her name? The one that dated Xander.
Oh, Anya.
Anya. If you got Anya in there, there's a lot that you could play with.
First, you're going to have to get the actor that plays Xander to stop getting arrested.
Oh, was he getting arrested a bunch?
Yeah, dude.
Nicholas
Brendan, two or three run-ins with the law in the last 3 years.
All right, well, we got to give him something to do, man.
Drunk and disorderly, and I think he punched somebody.
You can always replace him with Mark Ruffalo.
That's true.
Nice. I think that would work really well, and they may do it because a few months ago there was a picture one of them posted on Instagram, and they had a little reunion.
Yeah, I saw it.
And the fans tried to make it a thing that Eliza Dushku wasn't there. Like, they didn't invite Faith, and she had to like tweet out, I was only on like a handful of episodes this season and this season. I'm not offended. I'm not part of that family.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a great idea.
Well, and then a movie that I think would work better as a series, I'm going to come clean and say, obviously we haven't seen this yet, but The Dark Tower, in one of its iterations, was considered to be a series. And I think that would work so much better.
Yeah.
This world is dense as fuck.
I don't really understand. When I first heard about the Dark Tower movie, I was like, oh, that's cool. They're going to try to make all 7 of them, huh?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's exciting. Like, I mean, that's got I don't know how much of appeal, like mass appeal, Dark Tower has. I run into people all the time who have read the books. But yeah, they're doing this thing where they're trying to jam it all into this one movie.
They're actually not. I read this yesterday. It's going to be a sequel. And then in the comments I saw, I think this was on Reddit, somebody said that's a good thing because the nature of these books has always had kind of a cyclical thing. I've never read the books. I don't know what that means, but it's not going to do all the books in one movie. It's actually going to be set after the books.
Oh, okay.
Which, if I was a fan of the books, might frustrate me, but again, I don't know what's in them. So
I just don't know what the point is. If you're going to do a cinematic representation of the Dark Tower, which is very cinematic in its bones, in its structure, in its narrative, then you should go and do The Gunslinger. That's a fucking cinematic book right there. Do that. Do The Drawing of the Three. Do Wizard and Glass and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Those are tailor-made for movies.
Yeah. I just kept hearing that they were going to make this one movie and then they're going to make a series afterwards.
Yeah.
I guess that was a rumor because
I heard that too.
Yeah. I have no idea where it's at now, but it definitely sequentially, whether it's a series of movies, which would get pretty expensive over time, but I think as a series, as a Game of Thrones budgeted type of series, I think it would be good.
Oh, I think it would rule. Yeah.
Cool.
In your opinion, what is the best movie that has something honest to say about the supernatural or the unexplainable?
You know, it's funny. Every time after the vampires attack in From Dusk Till Dawn, I love it when George Clooney comes out and says, he's like, all right, everybody realizes we just went up against some vampires here, okay? He's like, no, I don't want to hear anybody say they don't believe in vampires, they didn't see the vampires or anything like that, because I don't fucking believe in vampires, but I know what I saw, and it bypasses all that bullshit that is in all these vampire movies where they're like, what was that? Yeah. I've never seen anything like that before. Like if us three got done recording today and we walked out and there was a fucking vampire out there, we would be like, that was a fucking vampire.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's what I love so much about the Clooney thing. Mm-hmm. That is something honest being said about something that is unknowable or whatever. It's like, yeah, don't really believe in this stuff, but now I've got to believe in it.
That's a great point. What is the only movie that actually mentions zombies by the word zombie? Is it Shaun of the Dead?
Well, there's a point where Nick Frost says zombie and Simon Pegg says, don't say that.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, what? And he's like, the Z word.
Yeah.
And everything. And then I don't think they say it again after that.
Right. And no other zombie movie really is calling them zombies because, I don't understand what this is. But that's a perfect example.
Yeah. Well, and I guess The Walking Dead prides itself on never calling them zombies.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's like,
great. Good job, guys.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, home run.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Contact.
Yeah.
Because
nice.
I think for religious people and atheists alike, the movie has something interesting to prod you with.
Mm-hmm.
For believers in aliens and not, the movie has something interesting to prod you with. It's really not saying as much as it's asking, but I think it asks the right questions in the right ways, that ultimately the movie has a lot of deep stuff to say about the supernatural. And it's one of the reasons I like that movie so much.
Was that McConaughey character even in the book, the Carl Sagan book? He was.
read the book.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in that. What really astounds me about Contact is when she gets in that spaceship, because you have no clue what's going to happen.
Right.
And you see how terrifyingly huge everything is. And you get these brief little rest stops, like gas stops, where it stops and she can look out and everything.
That's one of my favorite scenes of all time.
Yeah.
And like I used to watch this, like I said, I used to watch this on breaks all the time. Go and watch that scene. That whole wormhole thing is great. It's so fantastic to me. And then Interstellar kind of sort of copied some elements of that later on, but
and actors.
Yeah, and actors.
Yeah, there you
go. But Contact, that trip is it's just such a cool trip. It could have been done. They could have tried to go exactly the 2001 route or whatever, but it's its own thing because, just seeing the little other parts of her come drifting off and saying stuff from the future and everything, or stuff from the past, because it's all the same in this wormhole.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's her younger self that's doing that.
Yeah.
And then when you do stop and you see the two suns or the two stars kind of orbiting each other and the God damn. I mean, that really, it blows your mind.
It does. It does. I just think it's great and a very deep movie, and maybe a little too deep with the McConaughey here and there, but more movies should try and be deep. What you got?
It's easy to forget how influential The X-Files is.
Oh, yeah.
Because you go back and watch it, there's some shit that's pretty dated. But what I always loved about diving into the next case, Fox Mulder don't give a fuck. Like, he's just like, I am going to take this at face value. I'm going to believe you, and then I'm going to figure out what's going on. And of course, he had the counterpoint in Dana Scully, where she said, I'm going to start with the null hypothesis, basically, is that this is bullshit, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
And those opposing forces, man, always worked, no matter what they were doing.
Yeah. No, I loved that show.
Yeah.
Early Vince Gilligan, baby.
Yeah, man. Oh, man. Y'all ain't ready for this. Who would you cast to play Jeremy, Chris, and Barrett for CinemaSins, the movie?
By the way, you just made me think of the Lego movie. Y'all ready for this? Oh, no. They were ready for that.
You know what? It's interesting. I think what we're going to come up with here is going to end up just being wrong somehow. but I went more with somewhat looks, I guess. I don't know how these guys would pull off being us and everything, but for you, Barrett, I have Norman Reedus from the previously mentioned Walking Dead.
All right.
I think Norman Reedus could do a good Barrett, and then I have a guy named Logan Marshall Green who was in Prometheus. I believe he was Noomi Rapace's. Noomi Rapace's boyfriend in that. I think the look of those guys could get you down, and they're good enough actors. I think they could do it. For you, Jeremy, not because his name is Jeremy, but I have Jeremy Renner.
Oh, nice! I'll take that.
This, and I also have Jason Bateman.
Oh, I'll take that.
Nice.
You know why? My wife thinks he's one of the handsomest guys in Hollywood.
There you go.
So I'll take it.
Yeah.
You want to see something in me that my wife sees.
Hey, that's right.
You could do like a change-up thing where you switch bodies.
I never saw that movie.
Yeah, well, you got to pee in a fountain with Ryan Reynolds.
Didn't look very good.
No, it's not very
It's not good.
Yeah.
All right, who's going next? You or me?
I'll go. I have got the perfect Chris.
All right.
Mark Ruffalo.
Interesting. Never been picked. Never been pegged for Mark Ruffalo.
I think he could do an excellent Chris. Great actor, good looking guy. Got the salt and pepper a little bit, and I immediately thought Mark Ruffalo.
Interesting.
A distant second would be Benedict Cumberbatch.
No,
I think he could pull you off too.
Yeah.
And for Jeremy, I got some gold.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna have a young Jeremy and an old Jeremy. All right. The young Jeremy is gonna be Ryan Gosling.
Okay, I'll take that.
Great actor, funny.
Yeah,
like kind of just always kinetic.
Can play the piano now.
Can play the piano. I think that'd be awesome. But for old Jeremy, Hugh Laurie.
Oh,
yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. Because again, smart, funny, good looking, can play the piano, and
great
versatile.
American accent.
Great American accent. Yes, absolutely.
It's not bad. All right. I went more for looks than you guys did. I tried to do a mix of personalities, like temperament, and then physical attributes. So for Chris, I have either Jason Segel or TJ Miller.
Okay.
Are they both tall?
They're both tall.
Yeah, Jason Segel's tall.
They're both funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could pull you off.
Yeah.
And then for Barrett, I'm going to go with either Aaron Paul or Jerry Ferrera.
Nice.
Yeah, I like the Aaron Paul one. The Aaron Paul one definitely, I think, works.
Yeah, it works on both physical and personality levels.
Yeah.
Jerry Ferrera is a little more, I guess, goofy than you are.
Come on, Vince.
Yeah,
but you have a like a needling side to your personality, like that waitress with the salsa.
No, that was the all-time greatest.
And Jerry Ferrera could definitely play that side of you perfectly.
The incredibly intoxicated side.
Well, it tends to come out more when you're intoxicated, but
by the way, just for listeners out there, Barrett was not being a dick, but it was like hilarious banter with a waitress about salsa.
It was shrimp sauce that he was convinced was salsa because he found a chunk of an onion in it, and he would not let it go. Yeah. He had the waitress go back and double check with the chef. Are you sure this isn't salsa? And he had enough to drink that he should have just trusted us at this point. But he was having so much fun mildly annoying us, and he could tell it was going to get funny eventually. He just kept going with it.
Yes.
So, that's what I'm talking about. That's like that time you sat down at trivia next to somebody and were like, so that guy's a dumbass, right? Like, you like to push the buttons every now and then.
You kept on saying, he's awful. This is like somebody's like best friend. He's awful, isn't it?
Well, the first time I said it, I didn't realize he was her best friend.
Right. But that was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
Oh, Jesus.
Did you guys come up with people for you? Because I always, throughout my entire life, have gotten Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
see that.
and I used to, when I was working a concession stand at my old theater, there were these regulars that would come in, and the woman would be like, "Oh, hey Tom, how's it going?" and there's another guy I know who, like, every single time I see him, he's like, "Hey, Tom Hanks, Tom Hanks," and stuff like that. I've gotten Hanks more than anybody, but I've also gotten Timothy Hutton, I've gotten Ray Liotta, I've gotten Clive Owen. And I've gotten
Ray Liotta?
I have.
That is a
I think it's just the dark hair and blue eyes is all they're really looking at. And then I've also gotten Judge Reinhold.
I can see that.
Right. Yeah, I can dig on that.
I can see that.
Yeah. So I've gotten Hutton and Reinhold like the second most after Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm.
But Hanks clearly landslide. I've gotten that.
Yeah.
Like, though, it was so much so that when I was at Hollywood 27, one of the projectionists there took a Green Mile poster and covered Tom Hanks' name and just put my name. And just hung it on the wall.
Listen, I'm going to argue that I play myself in the movie because even though I disagree with him and don't see it, people have told my wife for years she looks like Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yeah.
I can see a
hire
little bit.
her to play my wife. I play myself. Write the love scene.
Right.
There you go. My wife will be fine with it.
Storyboard
Absolutely.
that shit.
I'm sure. I'll
Well,
talk to her
especially
tonight.
when she hears about the real penetration. That'll be awesome.
We're going to make Nymphomaniac Part 3. It's the story of Jeremy's life. It just happens to be, perfect, perfect sequel to that movie.
Absolutely.
Because of all the sex I have.
Yes.
Definitely.
I'm so excited that we're going to be having all the sex. That's Chandler from Friends.
Oh, that's interesting because I actually thought Matthew Perry for you, by the way.
Oh,
for
people have told
these.
me that I'm a lot like him. I don't look like him, but my wife thinks my personality is very Chandler-like.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I've gotten older Jack Nicholson, especially when I laugh, because I've got like that same kind of squinty eyed, like spiked eyebrows. But I think that's about it.
Yeah.
We got any more questions?
Yeah, let's do one more. Okay. I think this is an interesting topic.
Pat yourself on the back. Why don't you?
Yeah, exactly. What are tropes from California high schools? Because of the movies they're in, they're in a different world from the rest of us.
Well, the one that I really want to get off my chest is that open court outdoor school.
Yeah.
That fucking doesn't exist east of California, I swear to God, unless you're like in some kind of boarding school. Everything's indoor. You walk in, you go to 7 classes, you leave the building.
Yeah.
You're never outside.
Right.
But in all these movies and shows like Easy A and She's All That and Beverly Hills 90210,
Clueless.
they're all like in outdoor.
The halls are on the outside.
Yeah, with this gorgeous courtyard, lovely landscape.
They have their lunch outside. They go out and it's like college, and it's like they're walking down these like sidewalks, and there's like little stations of people everywhere.
Yeah.
And
I never once in my life have seen a high school like that. Now I'm sure someone's going to pop in and go, in Duluth, Minnesota, there's an outdoor campus school. You need to get out more. But
I guarantee you, there's not one in fucking Minnesota.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's too cold. I pulled the wrong state out of my ass.
But no, you're right. There is going to be somebody coming out of Minnesota of all places and say that.
Well, Buffy's school was like that on the TV show. It feels like everything set in California about high school. They're at an outdoor school.
One thing that I've noticed too is like is like gym class in these movies. Like in Clueless, especially, it seems like the gym instructor like does this one-on-one type of instruction with everybody. Like in Clueless, it's the tennis scene.
Yeah.
And it's like they have to go up there, and the instructor's like, all right, and you just hit the ball once and whatever. And of course, the big joke is that they're all from Beverly Hills and they don't do this type of shit for various reasons and everything. But like, yeah, even in I don't know, I don't think Carrie was in was in California. I don't think Carrie was, but Carrie even the gym instructor's like all up in everybody's business, man. Like here's what we're going to play some volleyball today, and
but in reality, it's like an ex-coach like handing you a ball and say do something,
and they go off and talk to some other person for like they go off to their office for a while, and then they come back after the hour's done. That's what I had to deal with. Is it possible though? They brought up Beverly Hills. Is it possible that they shoot at Beverly Hills High School so much that that's an aspect of that school and like nowhere else in California?
Well, I know some of the ones we're discussing are different schools. They couldn't all have been shot at the one same school, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are 5 to 10 schools that are super common shooting locations out in California, and they all happen to be outdoor campuses. I don't know. It just feels like a thing to me. As soon as I saw that question, I was like, oh, outdoor schools, man. I've never got that vitamin D.
Yeah, the school in Back to the Future is more like the schools that we had to deal with. They were
big
always
halls, everybody's inside.
Yeah, and even at the very beginning where he's coming in through the door, and his girlfriend shows up and is like, you don't want to come through this way. Yeah. There's nobody like milling about outside or anything like that. It's just, everything's contained inside. But yeah, that is an interesting thing, really. Yeah. Is there more to California high schools that I'm missing? Are there more tropes that were...
Well, it started with or at least we referenced it in our prep, with the Usher being the DJ at the California school, and she's all that, because I think that's another one that I've seen. Yeah. Maybe not specific to California, though. I also feel like, especially on Beverly Hills 90210, but I feel like California high school students are allowed to come and go as they please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that was never the case for us. Yeah. Like, you'd probably get in big trouble if somebody saw you in the parking lot at noon getting in your car or whatever.
Well, it's funny in Clueless because there's the point where the guy's like, my foot hurts. Can I go? And he's like, oh yeah, whatever.
Well, even in the first episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, she just like walks off and jumps over the fence and she's gone.
Yeah, it feels like they have a lot more leeway than real high school students do.
I'd like to know why every physical education class has to take place on the football field in the middle of this coliseum, because Superbad, Grease, 10 Things I Hate About You, all these movies, they go out for gym class, they're out in the open. One chick is doing fucking archery during gym class while the other ones are sitting up on the same thing in Mean Girls where they're sitting on the bleachers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And people are doing completely disparate things. Jonah Hill's coming out and talking to Michael Cera in the middle of a soccer game.
Yeah.
And he's not doing shit. He's just like fucking hanging out.
Yeah.
Every time in California.
Every time, Dad.
Every time.
Fucking California.
Yeah,
California.
Man. As Bruce Willis once said. Okay, well, that'll do it for this week. Keep going to SoundCloud and giving us your thoughts.
Yeah, let us know how we're doing. Let us know if you've signed up for NatureBox. That'd be fun to know, to see if you guys are on board with that.
Send pictures.
And let us know how we're doing, man. We love doing this stuff, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it, too.
Need more snack pics.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Sher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit CinemaSins.com.
I caught Groundhog Day. There was a Bill Murray marathon on Stars, which is awesome. It was Lost in Translation, Groundhog Day, and Stripes.
Oh, nice.
Which was fucking awesome. Of course, my wife was out of town, so I watched every second of it. Except when I was having to look at a video. And man, god damn, it's just... Those are 3 super disparate Bill Murray performances.
Sure. Sure.
And Groundhog Day, every time, man, just like gets me. We were talking about how it's probably... They didn't conceptualize it as like a deep movie.
Right.
That movie's fucking deep, man.
It is accidentally deep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still don't know what he does, though, to break the cycle. Like, I guess he made everything perfect in the town.
Mm-hmm. You can only get out of this if you do everything perfectly.
But he still ended up, like, sleeping with Andy McDowell.
Yeah, so?
But that was just a byproduct? Like, because he did that already.
No, but he didn't do all the other stuff that he had done. The first time he slept with her, well, the time where he thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And she's like wanting to stay up so that just to see if he's still there and all that. He had not done everything yet. And
I guess that's what propels him, because that's when he starts doing
But that is kind of a silly thing, right? That you have to do everything perfectly. That is some perfectionism that we haven't really thought about.
And what I always don't understand is, like, it feels like he becomes a good person long before he gets out of it. Like, we see him multiple times doing good things, and like having learned his. Why didn't he get out of it? 20 days earlier than he did.
Maybe part of the equation was that he couldn't be perfect, because the homeless guy, he keeps trying to keep him alive, and maybe it's finally where he goes, okay, I can't do everything. Maybe that's part of it. Like that's another part of your deep conversation there, because everything.
Well, what about fucking Chris Elliott, man? Chris Elliott gets shit on.
What
that whole
about
day.
fucking Chris Elliott?
Because nothing good happens to him. Like he starts dating, like hitting on Nancy, and then I guess he ends up with the old lady.
Yeah, he does. But as far it's not his story. So the story for Phil Connors is that he thanks him and appreciates him.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And that's pretty much it. It was like, oh, okay, I'm going to respect the underling and that type of thing. So it's not Chris Elliott's story. Chris Elliott is still a dumbass in that movie. He probably deserves a lot of the stuff that he gets in that, but funny, not from Phil.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize that Brian Doyle Murphy fucking chokes.
Murray.
And I guess Murray. What did I say? Murphy?
Murphy. Yeah.
Murphy. He chokes. Like, I guess every day. Like, I guess every other day he dies.
I guess so.
Because Phil Connors shows up and, like, saves him.
Yeah, I guess so. That's something they don't quite bring up until...
it's like, oh, yeah, our fucking mayor's dead, too, by the
way. Yeah. Did you ever bang that Pacey chick or whatever? And he's like, you mean Katie? Like, well, there was this one time. And they just...
I forgot how much I enjoyed Will Ferrell in that movie,
Oh,
too.
Will Ferrell's great.
All of the parodies and cameos from his other movies and jokes where they stop and look directly at the camera. I just love all of that shit. It's just having so much fun.
Good Will Hunting 2, hunting season.
Well, and they do that fugitive thing at the dam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Will Ferrell's like, wow, these guys are good. Here I go. I'm going to jump off. Fucking Windows 98.
I know. Get Bill Gates in here. How do they work?
I know.
Computer.
Seriously. I'm a dad. I might as well act like one.
Yeah, exactly. No kidding.
These darn machines.
Yeah.
I know. How do you use this Skype thing? I mean, can you guys see me and I can hear? I don't understand.
Bitches.